It's Friday, July 10th, 2026. All right, let's start off as we typically do by letting you know that if you'd like to support our show, you can go to supportourshow.com and select from the options available therein. All right, I've got three things to start off with. Actually four technically. Let me start off with listener feedback. Reader feedback. It's like fucking Reader's Digest. Hold on. Let's see. I got an email today.
That'd be really funny.
I was very happy.
If there was somebody actually like printing out the.
Well, no, actually, now that I say that, if somebody is hearing impaired and does a transcript, it is technically possible.
Did the microphone pick that up? Did you hear that?
What? I'm
in a violent thunderstorm right now.
Oh yeah, I thought I heard like thunder.
Yeah. So if you hear some booming, it's somebody playing the drums.
Yeah, that's fine. All right.
Yep. So listener feedback
from Dimitri, who's a longtime listener.
Oh wow!
Hi Joe. I love the opening of this, by the way. Hi Joe. And I know he doesn't care about me using his name. Since you don't check Instagram, correct. I did manage to find a retail DVD copy of Nirvana following your recent viewing. This is, honestly, the definitive cyberpunk movie. Viewing in the original Italian is mandatory. Dimitri, I agree. That's why I got the Blu-ray.
I mean, honestly, just to hear him say Jimmy, I just love the way he says Jimmy in that movie. Like, Jimmy.
One issue is I realized I don't have anything that reads DVDs anymore since we quietly went digital, so I had to pull out an old PS4. Well, good for you for keeping it, Dimitri. Also, I keep being amazed how great YouTube is, but for the variety of people posting, and what he did was he linked to a video on electronics repair and 3D printing, which I will agree with him. That is one thing I have thought from time to time about getting a 3D printer for that reason, because there's so much repairability with it now.
All the parts.
There's so many files to make parts for things that nobody else makes.
What's funny is that I think I told you about this. My son is basically what do you call it? He's customizing his Transformers, and he's like finding things online to print out parts. Like he's actually going to build something into a combiner, which never was before. But the thing is, he's doing it kind of like through like special time he gets in school to do these things. And so he finally approached me and he was like, I think I might want to get into 3D printing. I was like, can we do that? And I was like, yeah, I'll look into it. And I was always fascinated by 3D printing. It's just not my area. You know what I mean? Like, I like it.
No, but it's cool. Actually not as expensive too. It's gotten cheap enough that you can get good 3D printers. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like it's $5, but it used to be very expensive.
I looked briefly at it, and yes, there's a bunch. I mean, this is the affordability. I feel bad because to some degree, this is like the early stages of Cory Doctorow's vision of like the 3D printer future, but it never happens the cool way you want it to. You know what I mean? So like it's happening in that mundane, real world way that shit happens. But yes, they are far more available now than they have been in the past.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, I will say to anybody who's thinking of this, again, this is something I find myself doing now more and more, is telling people, go on Reddit or a forum for this stuff, because much like TVs, or really almost anything, but TVs is the closest analog for me personally, you have to decide what defect you want. Some of them... No, I'm serious.
No, listen.
Some of them, the accuracy is not what it should be. Some of them waste a lot of the material that you feed into. So you just have to pick.
I love the way you said that. You have to pick your defect. Yeah, but that's everything. I mean, I would say pick, pros and cons.
I agree, but a lot of people look at a review and they go, "Oh, this got a really good review," and it may, but that's also probably, and this is, I've said a version of this many times over the years. My biggest problem with a lot of reviews is many of them are not long-term, unless you see that it points out 6 months later using blah, 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 blah. That usually means they're only using it when it's brand new for some amount of time, but they're not living with it. And the problem is, and it's not really, I can't entirely, I can't entirely fault reviewers for this. They have to review things. They can't just sit there reviewing one thing as a job for a year. I get it. But a lot of this stuff, I would actually contribute money towards a website that did long-term or revisiting reviews at like 6-month, 12-month, and 24-month periods to really tell you how long something lasts. After 2 years, most of the time the warranty expires. You can't really go past that. It's unreasonable. I understand that.
It's the survivability of products. I mean, that's...
Well, or defects that reveal themselves over time, which may not be deal breakers, but you should be aware of.
I remember I was wild. It was like probably a number of years ago. I was reading about how there's a huge secondary market for like really weird luxury cars. This is when I was still fantasizing about maybe getting like some kind of expensive car because I was into cars. But how there's actually this incredible after sale market for like nice cars.
Sure.
Because at like 60,000 miles is when like serious fucked up shit starts to happen. And so you get them for really cheap because the repairs are just ridiculous. So it's like the whole idea was if you figure out how to handle these repairs, then you're good. But if you don't, then, don't come near these cars. You know what I mean? Like, and it's that kind of thing. It's like, okay, that's around 60,000 miles. I can't even remember what, it was like high-end cars too. But it's that kind of thing. It's like, that's 60,000 miles down the road. You almost want a review channel of somebody who's like, let me review 10-year-old products.
Sure.
Like, I've had this toaster for this long. And the thing is, in the stuff that I like, that does come up because, like, in the past, leather jackets last for really long periods of time. So people who don't get it, like, at least 4 or 5 years out of the leather in kind of the world that I was in would bitch. And you would hear, oh, don't get those. They don't fucking last. You know what I mean? Like, it's... So for me, there's always been kind of a survivability issue, but when it comes to electronics, no. And I think also what it is that by the time anyone is going to review something, they've already released 3 products since. You know what I mean? It's like trying to review the survivability of an iPhone when, like, next year there's another one, and next year there's another one, next year there's another one. And I'm like, motherfuckers, like, why not slow it down a little bit, Anyway, money calls.
Sure.
But I agree with you.
Yep. Yeah. That's all. It's just decide what matters. So.
Well, I appreciate
Second thing.
Dimitri
that was thing one.
Reaching out to us.
I also love hearing somebody say, like us, hey, this is a great cyberpunk movie. I mean, he used the word definitive. Great. Even better to have somebody find a movie and really love it that much. That's great. Like I said, I bought it before we finished watching it.
I can't easily argue with that term definitive because of the movies I've seen, that is probably the closest thing to that 80s vision of the future.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, depending on what you envision cyberpunk to be, it may well be. Just depends. Cyberpunk is a lot of things to a lot of different people. So, depending on what your reference point for it is, yes, very much. I've said to many people now, over and over, Stalker-esque, where I won't shut up. If you like William Gibson and you'd like to see a very literal translation of much of what, at least I envisioned the world he was creating was, this may be it for you. In which case, Yeah, this is the closest I've seen of taking stuff right out of a book and literalizing it.
What's kind of sad too is
realizing it.
Is that New Rose Hotel got some of the mood of like the short stories, but they didn't have the tech. Right.
Well, so did Johnny Mnemonic.
And Johnny Mnemonic,
can find parts.
Yeah, Johnny Mnemonic. There's a lot they got right there, but then they kind of they lost their way with the whole religious shit, and like it just kind of it got away from itself.
Priest. Ooh.
Yeah. But I mean, that's it right there. I mean, what other great cyberpunk movies have you got that come close?
I mean,
people will tell you that the Matrix. I don't think the Matrix is. I don't think the Matrix is a cyberpunk movie. I don't. I think the Matrix is...
I completely disagree. It is definitely a cyberpunk movie, but it is not in the same type as Nirvana is. Because it is much more with the idea of what the self is and where you exist and that type of thing. It's getting into the metaphysical realm.
And this will be an interesting conversation then, because... So when I think of the genre of cyberpunk, where it was created, when it was created, right? And things evolve. So I accept the fact that the term today is different, right? But I'm going to go to bat for this because I did write a fucking 50-page paper about it. So cyberpunk originally was this idea of high-tech technology making it all the way down to the low-lives. This is the high-tech low-life idea, right? Mm-hmm. And how it permeates every part of society. And you now have this situation where the ultra-rich, the crime families, they have so much more power. And yet, there is the technology out there that can really fuck with their day, right? Because that's the cyberpunk... All fiction is escapism to some extent. And the escapism of cyberpunk was the idea that despite all this Big Brother shit that was going on, there were still people out there who could fuck with them, the hackers. Now, my issue with The Matrix is, we've said this before, how The Matrix is a movie that pulled on a lot of different sources to make something that was kind of new. But anybody who'd been on the same wavelength as the Wachowskis had kind of encountered all the same things they had, right? So it's like, well, we read the cyberpunk novels that they read. We watched the kung fu, John Woo movies that they'd watched. So when we saw The Matrix, it was great, but it wasn't, earth-shattering. And I think that's the thing, is they pulled on all this cyberpunk stuff and the idea of jacking in and all this stuff. But I think that, for me, The Matrix feels more post-apocalyptic to me. And that, for me, thrusts it's a hybrid genre to me. Because The Matrix is a post-apocalyptic movie. Like, I know that they're jacking in and all that stuff, and that there's a virtual world that they go into, but outside of that, they're living in a robot apocalypse. Like, I would make the argument, if you gave me some time and let me write a paper, I could make the argument that, point per point, while The Matrix is a apocalypse movie rather than a cyberpunk movie. Please, argue.
It's not an argument; it's an interpretation. You
know
interpret
what I mean.
That way.
I'm not saying
your very
yell
definition is exactly what the Matrix is of cyberpunk: low end, high tech. The lowest of the world that are left are using highest tech, which is getting into this supercomputer to fuck around with the people who are oppressing them. That's cyberpunk. You can get into details as far as post-apocalyptic. To me, is the same as societal collapse, which many cyberpunk books got into. Blade Runner would certainly, which is held up as a cyberpunk book and movie,
and the
are
funny
both
thing,
in a societally collapsed post-apocalypse, not because there was a nuclear war, but because everything fell apart.
And the funny thing to me is I always felt like Blade Runner, it had a really neat cyberpunk look, but I always felt like it went into like a more sort of science fiction direction. I don't feel like Blade Runner is... To me, the movie, I don't feel like the movie of Blade Runner is a cyberpunk movie. I feel like it's a science fiction movie in a kind of post modern corporate world that's dying, but I don't. I guess the thing is that because I spend so much time with this term and this genre, I think I have a far more narrow perception of it than a lot of people. And I argue that your perception of it, with The Matrix, I see where you're coming from. I see how it makes sense. And if you take that idea that, it's societal collapse, the robots are the oppressors instead of like corporations and the ultra rich, right? And that, the low lives are the surviving humans. I see your interpretation and it makes sense. It's not my interpretation, but it makes sense to me.
I think in some ways The Matrix may be one of the most literal cyberpunk stories that there is. In that, in traditional like Gibson cyberpunk, it's the megacorps trying to accumulate wealth and control and all that stuff.
Yeah.
In The Matrix, the robots have done away with anything except pure literal power. They literally are oppressing for power, not power in terms of influence, power in terms of power.
But I guess
because these ants broke the sun. So guess what? Fuck you then. We'll take it out of you.
But I guess my response to that though is that it's how the robots handle the humans, and this is kind of the weird nuanced territory, which is that I didn't feel like they especially treated them poorly. After having watched The Matrix a bunch of times, I don't know what the robots are doing wrong to them. You know what I mean? Like look, Neo, right? Neo wakes up, he goes to his job, he hates it, and then he goes to like his crazy headbanger S&M club and probably scores with some chicks because he's a good-looking guy because he looks like Keanu Reeves, right? He has a side gig selling weird technologies. Like outside of the fact that Neo hates his job and has this feeling like there's more to the universe, what are the robots doing to him?
Well, some of the issue with answering that is that The Matrix takes place in a very narrow slice of this world. We get into it later in the more media. You start to see that there's way more going on. The idea, which I always thought was neat, that they barely scratched in the second movie of a haunted house is The Matrix. Vampires, werewolves, all that stuff was really neat. And then they just kind of dropped it in the mainline movies.
And that's the thing that really bugs me with a lot of this is that they start to get into territory that's fascinating, that will give you something to really kind of consider, and then they walk away from it right away and have an action sequence.
Yeah.
And that is the general problem. Actually, it's really funny because in the Matrix movies, they go for the philosophy when you want them to just have an action sequence, right? And then they go toward the action sequence when you actually want them to have some philosophy. Right, so when you get into the whole ghost and monsters and stuff, they're like, "Quick, let's have a fight on the highway," and you're like, "Well, it's a cool fucking sequence,
it's a great fight."
But I'm fascinated. Like, why does your Animatrix fill in more about your world than your movies do?
And I don't know if that was a byproduct of being too popular and having studio notes on the budget you need. It's hard to say.
Oh, it's the George Lucas problem, isn't it?
Also, it could also just be that what the Wachowskis were trying to do did not work the way they hoped it would, which was the multimedia approach. They wanted this to be
Does that ever work?
Don't just make it movie. No, it hasn't. But it's to me it's the ideal thing if you can ever make it work, because it allows for so many different ways to tell a very rich story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, you look at the Animatrix is better than the other two movies in the series. Honestly.
Oh wow!
Second Renaissance is better than the second or third movie, in my opinion, in conveying what the Matrix was about after the first movie.
I am going to support you. I think you are correct. I think that as a complete movie, the Animatrix is better than Matrix 2 or 3.
Yeah. And I like 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I have them all. I own them and I watch them.
Yeah,
I'm not like some people who say, well, it doesn't exist after the first one. No. 2 and 3 are good.
And even number 3 has a lot of interesting, cool shit that happens, right? I haven't watched 4 yet.
I watched 4.
I know
and
you
4
reviewed
was
it.
clearly, that was very obviously that, okay, well, if somebody else is going to make it, let's just get paid and we'll give a middle finger to this idea, which was fine, but I need to rewatch it. Whereas it is fascinating to me that the first Matrix film is all about Neo and the Nebuchadnezzar crew.
Yeah.
And then 2 and 3 are about Agent Smith and his awakening and his anger, his resentment towards what he is, which is really good. I mean, when you break that down.
I know, but the problem is they should have spent more time with him then and less time with the others.
No, you know what? No. I'll tell you why you can't.
Yeah.
You can't because nobody gets it. The mainstream people.
There are still people who don't understand the ending of that movie.
No. Even though it is literally spelled out when he says he gave me his purpose. Like he's saying these things that if you just literally take the written words, it's not even Lynchian nuance. They're saying it. His entire arc is spelled out for you. And yet people refuse to see it because I think that, and this is what I mean about the studio side of it, I think that there was a significant portion of the first movie's audience that responded to an action film. And they didn't really care. Because honestly, if you really want to delve into it, I watched it and I wish I remembered the channel's name. Because it was I've talked about this before, it was such an eye-opening video to watch a trans person talk about what the Matrix is.
Yeah.
Especially in light of the Wachowskis' transitions later. It's clear that's what it was. I missed a lot of that when I first saw it because I'm not a trans person.
Yes,
so a lot of the stuff that immediately people pick up on. So I responded at first to a great science fiction action film.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. So I think a great movie is a movie that communicates the idea of the director, whether a lot of people will pick up on it or not, but also allows everybody to see what they want to see it. So regardless of what the Wachowskis intended, everybody enjoys The Matrix for various different reasons. Even if they can't see those reasons that the Wachowskis may have intended.
Oh, definitely.
And that's good. Yeah. It makes so we can all kind of... Because listen, I am not a trans individual. Do I support trans rights? Sure. But I'm not going to see what someone else is going to see. And you have to make your media in such a way that you leave the space for people to feel the art in different ways.
Well, okay. One asterisk to that.
Well,
I don't think you need to.
No.
But if you want big time success, it's your best bet.
That's what I'm saying. Let me highlight this for a second. The idea that not all art, okay, but yes, in the realm of making a big blockbuster movie, which Matrix was, right?
Yes.
And every sequel after, because after the first one, they looked at the Wachowskis and said, "We really want you to make more Matrix. Make more Matrix now. Come on, more Matrix now." In the same way that George Lucas made Star Wars, and they were like, "Right, you got to make more of these now. No, we don't give a shit about any of this other shit you want to do. We want more." And you, as a director, are sitting there going, "I want to do my own thing, but I also want to make money." You know what I mean? Like
I want to make Sense8. How do I make Sense8?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing is, I want to watch Sense8, and that's another one of those ones that keeps going over my radar.
All right, I'll put it on our list. We'll watch it.
Never seemed to get to it.
No, it's okay.
So
I have shows that we're going to start watching, so it's fine.
I have problems watching certain things with my wife in the same way that, I mean, your wife has a much different flexibility, but like there is shit that I can't get my wife to sit through because she will look at me and be like, "Why the fuck are we watching this?" My wife is the action sequence Matrix watcher. And that's one of the things I like about the Matrix was that, you know, if you've got people that you're with that are not into action, are not into the science fiction weirdness, right? Then they're there for the action, and that's fine, and you get the science fiction. You know, it's I like a movie that can be shared with a lot of different groups, which The Matrix is. Yeah. It's tough to make. It's very hard to make the movie necessarily that you want to make.
It is.
I stand by my fact. I totally get your interpretation, of The Matrix, and I totally stand by the fact that it is reasonable. It is not my interpretation, but it is reasonable.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's not a correct or incorrect thing.
No, and that's exactly it. I do think that I have a very narrow, like I said, I have a very narrow vision of cyberpunk because I just did so much goddamn research into it.
Well, listen, I mean, everybody has narrow interpretations for things they deeply care about to some degree. I have seen people argue that cyberpunk has to, they say it like that, has to involve a drug metaphor to actually be cyberpunk.
Really? Yeah.
That some aspect, like the jacking in is a substitution for like IV drug use. Like there has to be something like that because Philip K. Dick for some people is the originator.
Oh,
because of all the,
I do not believe, man, this could be, so I do not feel that Philip K. Dick wrote a mainstream cyberpunk book of any sort. I think
I agree. I think he skirted the edge with Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep,
but in the same way that, like, I find that the Blade Runner movie skirts the edge of the idea of cyberpunk, I think that Blade Runner looks cyberpunk, but that the world it is in itself, for me, again, gets into that sort of post-apocalyptic science fiction, of which Philip K. Dick did write quite a bit of, right?
Yeah.
And I think what happens is the genre now has been transformed to be anything like computery and punk rocky, where it's like, if you've got angry people with computers, it's cyberpunk. Hackers is a cyberpunk movie because they're angry teenagers with computers. Like, I think that's the bastardization of the genre. And that's what happens. I mean, it happens to every genre. Where, like, it just gets, like, the original definition of what a romance is has nothing to do with the modern day idea of what a romance novel is, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And we have to allow these things to happen. So I can't give you a definitive idea of what cyberpunk is, but I acknowledge
and that's the thing. There isn't one because I've seen some very, very not convincing is the wrong word, some very well-reasoned arguments that it actually started in 2000 AD. That if you go back to some of the comics, the strips in there, which is well before Neuromancer, and they're like, this is what it is. So, like somebody said Judge Dredd is, and I would never call Judge Dredd cyberpunk, although there are aspects of it that fit within the idea.
If anything, Dredd is that post-apocalyptic science fiction again. Because it's in this authoritarian vision of the future post
it is,
some
but
kind of event.
How is that all that different than societal collapse? It gets semantical.
But I guess the thing is, societal collapse is not, for me, a requirement so much as like the social system in society breaking down. And again, I'm open for discussion on it. What I was about to say was I don't have hard rules because I am flexible on what it is, and I know that it is evolving.
Oh yeah.
But these things don't immediately feel that way. And the problem is because it's becoming this catch-all genre where it's like angry people with computers, it's cyberpunk. Well, right? That's what it's becoming.
It's sort of, I don't know if it's a catch-all, but I think there is a lot of malleability at the edges, depending on what the core of the idea means to you. Because a lot of people, and I am not one of them, describe Akira as cyberpunk, and I sit there and go, no, it's not.
You know what?
But if it's the idea of street kids, I mean, he's driving a supercycle. There's an element of it. They're fighting against an oppressive government. Depending on what you're,
I just found this quick list that says top modern cyberpunk movie recommendations, right? I'll read this to you because I understand why some of them are and are not, right? So Blade Runner 2049. This is that whole thing where I don't think Blade Runner is cyberpunk. I think it's science fiction, but I don't think it's cyberpunk.
I agree. No, I'm with you there.
Upgrade. Have you seen Upgrade?
Yes.
I think Upgrade is a little bit cyberpunk-ish.
I was going to say, it goes enough into it that I accept the
and like, Ready Player One is like the bastardization of stuff. cyberpunk to me.
Yeah, that's baby's first cyberpunk. Sure.
Yeah. Whereas I think Ghost in the Shell is cyberpunk. It's other things as well. In fact, Ghost in the Shell it can be cyberpunk, but I think it takes so many other genres along with it.
Wow, this is fascinating because I would take the Matrix angle with Ghost in the Shell. I accept that you think it's cyberpunk, but I wouldn't describe it that way.
Okay, hold on. Let me go on with the list then. Strange Days. I think Strange Days is cyberpunk. In fact,
yeah, that's pretty. Yeah,
I realized something that for me, for many, many years, Strange Days was
Nirvana.
Was my definitive science fiction.
Oh yeah, no.
Even though it's not quite right, it got Molly.
No,
he's very Case. There's a hack aspect to it.
I was going to say, if somebody told me that William Gibson ghost wrote that movie, I'd be like, yep, that makes sense.
Right? Yeah, even though there's no hacking or any of that stuff, but and then someone said Elysium with Matt Damon. Elysium is not a fucking cyberpunk movie.
That's science fiction to me.
Yeah. Dread, science fiction. I don't see it as a...
Yeah.
Well, but hold on. I've never heard of this. Have you heard of this movie? The Sleep Dealer from 2008?
Yes, I haven't seen it, though. We'll have to watch it.
Is it a indie cyberpunk film that predicted modern-day drone strikes, border walls, and the dehumanization of remote gig labor? It follows labor in a near-future Mexico where they connect their bodies to a network. The problem is it sounds like a bummer. Well, it sounds like a huge fucking bummer. But you know what?
Yeah,
listen.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk, by and large, is kind of a bummer.
That's why I like the Matrix.
Think about it. At the end of... I think I've said this to you. At the end of Neuromancer... Case has got money, but he's kind of alone, right? And at the end of the other books, no one seems particularly thrilled at the end. They've just kind of survived.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
In fact, I think the happiest. I don't think what Gibson's writing today is cyberpunk anymore. He's writing science fiction. I don't think it's cyberpunk anymore.
He'd probably agree with you.
Yeah, he probably would too. But I think his characters have gotten happier though, because when you get to the end of Pattern Recognition, she seems pretty content. She seems pretty good, and that's why when she shows up later in the third book, the main character from Pattern Rec shows up in the third book of the trilogy, and she's still kind of okay, just doing her fucking thing. I'm like, there you go. If you want
happy cyberpunk, you read Snow Crash.
Oh yeah.
That's a party.
Your
upside of it.
Yeah. Yep, that's a party. But yeah, I just wanted to read this list because it kind of gives you an idea of what people are thinking, these things are.
Yeah.
But yes, oh my God, Blade Runner 2049 shows up on all these lists.
Yeah, well, and that's because
Battle Angel Alita, Cyberpunk.
I would absolutely argue that is for the comic.
Okay.
Yes.
But do you think the movie is?
Well, the movie didn't get into... No, because the movie's one book of a 9-book series.
Yeah.
So they streamlined way too much of that story.
Tell me what you think of this. I agree with this statement, but I think it's...
Okay.
Ghost in the Shell Innocence is the most cyberpunk of any of the Ghost in the Shell products. I
would agree with that.
I kind of agree with that.
No, I agree with that because it's a very specific statement, right?
Yeah.
That sentence said the most cyberpunk. It didn't say definitive cyberpunk of
just
all time.
The most cyberpunk of all the versions that are out there.
I would agree with that with no no hesitation.
Because honestly,
that is, he's Case in that story. Really, Bateau is basically Case. Not literally, but in other words, the character who is stuck and is miserable, and you know what I mean? That is chasing. In his case, he doesn't want his cyberware back. He wants the Major back.
Yeah,
the Major's absence in his life has damaged him physically.
Yeah, and that's why at the end when she shows up, it's such a big deal.
It is. Yes.
I can't. You know what? I gotta watch that again because I don't remember if he then feels better.
We'll watch it. I'll put it on a list. We'll watch it because
I wonder. Well, because at the end of it all, right? She shows up, And doesn't she
Yes.
basically say to him that she's always watching him or something like that?
Yes.
I can't remember if there's like a
she's like his
contentness at the
guardian
end.
angel.
Yeah, she's watching over
Because
him,
you realize that she says something to the effect of, I've been keeping, because she, at that point, I think she says something like, I can be in all these different places at once. And she's like, well,
Yeah.
she has some line about, I'll always be here when you need me, or like that she is basically keeping tabs on him.
Yeah.
Because he got her out.
Yeah, I guess so.
Fucking Innocence is great. It's so good. And
Yeah,
I know a lot of people think it's too slow and it's plotting, and it is, but it's such a wonderful reward to the first movie.
I think that Innocence and Blade Runner 2049 are two of the most incredible sequels.
I completely agree.
Like, for me, when it comes to like top-notch sequels to a science fiction movie, it's like Terminator 2, Blade Runner 2049, and for me, Ghost in the Shell Innocence.
Yeah.
I think it captured so many of the things that I loved and then expanded on them and did other things, and then, Yeah. And people were pissed because the Major's not in it, but she's not in it corporeally. But when she shows up at the end and you realize, no, man, she's always been there. She's been there the whole movie. That's the weird feel you get for that film. You know what I mean?
Innocence is the only other anime film besides Akira I've seen in the theater, and I made a point to because I think it's so good.
Oh, I didn't see it.
They played it at this little Egyptian-themed art house theater in San Francisco, and as soon as I saw it, I'm like, I'm there. And they played it in Japanese with the subtitles.
No, but I did watch it in Japanese, with the subtitles.
Yeah. Oh, no. I think you have to.
But
even though I really do like the voice actors.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So I will, when I watch it, I kind of 50-50 it. I'll do every other. Because I do think the Bateau voice actor is awesome. And so I like Togasa too. I think they got good people. Like, actually, all of the voice actors for the original, I think, are very good. But when I saw it there, they said they were going to do it in Japanese. I'm like, okay, I'll watch that. So, no, I love it. This is great.
That is a great flick. Wait, did you have something else, by the way? You said you had
I had two other things. So that was the first thing.
Well, let's get to them before we get away completely.
Two, this is going to be... Almost nobody who listens to the show is going to care.
I thought we got further than one. Anyway, go on.
Oh, no. The one was reading the email from Dimitri, which led to everything else. That was number one. No, wait, shit. That was the fourth one. That was number one. What the hell were the other three? Shit. Okay, I can't remember one of them, so there will only be three. Second, this is purely sports related. Okay? So, I had a realization earlier. And this is only going to matter to baseball fans. So if you're not a baseball fan or a sports fan, I'm sorry, I'm going to bore you for a few minutes now. I fucking hate the Dodgers. Right? Okay? And I'm going to tell you why. Because the Dodgers and the Yankees, I love the Yankees. I hate the Dodgers. Not just because my wife is a Giants fan, San Francisco Giants fan. Although that's part of it, because, boy, she hates the Dodgers too. But because the biggest player in all of baseball, depending on who you ask, but it's generally agreed upon, is Shohei Ohtani, who is a pitcher-hitter, which of his level is rare. He's an exceptionally talented pitcher and hitter. Usually you get one of the other. You don't often get a combo anymore that is as good as he is. Okay? As far as I can tell, nice guy. I don't have anything against him personally. He was on the Angels for a while and then was acquired by the Dodgers. And this is my problem with the fucking Dodgers. Okay? The Dodgers, every year now for the last, 10 years, are always, going to be in the World Series. They're so good. They're so good. They've got such talent, blah, 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 blah. And the reason they have such talent is because they spend so much money. Now, immediately, somebody's going to say, well, how can a Yankees fan criticize a team for spending money on players?
That's true.
And I'm not going to argue that. The Yankees also have a ridiculous amount that they spend, I think, poorly. I mean, I could do an entire show on how mismanaged the Yankees are because the owner of the organization has no interest in baseball and should be shot out of a cannon into whatever he wants to be interested in, as opposed to managing a baseball team that he clearly could not give a fuck about less. His father was an arrogant, mean-spirited asshole. That's George Steinbrenner. But at least he cared about the Yankees. Say what you want about him, and I never was the biggest fan, but compared to Hal Steinbrenner, George is a fucking saint in terms of his baseball. He actually cared and wanted to win. He would get involved too much, but at least he was interested. Hal Steinbrenner couldn't give a fuck less, as long as the dumbass fans, and yes, I'm saying this to fellow New Yorkers, stop showing up at the fucking games because you are reinforcing what this asshole is doing to your ball club. When you show up, all he cares about is money. When you show up and pay ridiculous amounts for tickets and all the shit you buy at the stadium, all you're doing is telling him he's right. So stop going. That's my complaint about the fans. Now, let's move on to Brian Cashman, dipshit extraordinaire, who chases people for their star power as opposed to their team play, their team spirit, which is not like I ever had any. I was a non-sports person when I was in high school. I couldn't give a fuck about it. But he doesn't buy people who contribute to a stronger team. He buys people who, again, make fans go, woo, and they show up even if they contribute next to nothing. Nothing to this fucking ball club. So fuck Brian Cashman too. Aaron Boone, the manager, who most people hate, I don't hate, I've just recognized he doesn't have any actual managing ability. He's not a bad person, but he's not a good person. I would take Billy Martin's reincarnation over Aaron Boone any day of the week. Bring back Joe Girardi. Joe Torre, he did everything he could. We shit on him. He left. Good for him. He gave a middle finger by going to the Dodgers. I can't complain. He got fucked over by, again, this piece of shit front office. So, Joe Torre, no ill will. Good for you. Go get paid. Now, of course, he's the commissioner of baseball, I think, still, so that's fine. He got where he needed to go. It was a good manager. So, why do I hate the Dodgers and not the Yankees? Here's why. The Dodgers are essentially the Yankees of the West Coast. They really are. If you compare everything, objectively, you would say, well, these are basically the same team. And to an extent, I would agree. Except, here's the thing I miss about the Yankees from when I was younger. The Dodgers like to strut around like they're good guys, and they just happen to attract the talent. What do you want to do? Everybody wants to come to LA. It's 72 all the time, and the women are all cybernetically enhanced, look beautiful, and they want to play here, and it's great. And we're good people. Fuck you, no, you're not. See, the Yankees, when they were like this.
I just love the cybernetically enhanced. Go on.
Yeah, kind of riffing off the earlier thing. I'm trying to keep some kind of tangent.
No, you're good.
There.
Go
it's
for
barely
it.
Working, but anyway. Whereas the Yankees, when they were the evil empire, were the evil empire. We didn't want to be liked. We wanted to crush throats and spit in your face when we did it. We didn't pretend that we were nice people. This is my big problem with the Dodgers. Because again, fuck the Dodgers. They want to act like it's all sunny and nice and we're, smiling. And fuck you. Don't do that shit when you're trying to be scumbags like we were. We did it right. I miss those days. I want the Yankees to be shitbags again. I want them to be mean and hated because at least we don't fucking pretend that we're something that we're not. Whereas these LA scumbags do. And I fucking hate them. Anyway, that ends the sports segment. I'm just saying, it's like when I talk about how people drive out here, right? People out here drive like morons and they don't know any better. New Yorkers drive like morons, and we're assholes because we know we're doing it. So it's fine, because at least we don't have any illusions that we're something better. We are better, but not for that reason. Anyway, that's the end of sports talk. There's item 2, out of the way. 3, this actually relates more to the cyberpunk thing, so I probably should have followed up with this, but it was going to be tough to transition out of sports ball into something else, so it's better to put it here. Relating to dystopia and societal collapse and decay and all that shit. I did a 5 about this, but there was no way I was going to pack all I had to say into 5 minutes. So I said, listen to the Friday show if you're interested more on this. If you're not, don't bother. Or if you're here and you're not, sorry. PlayStation, Sony, announced that they are no longer going to release games on physical discs starting in 2028. They're going all digital.
Did you, really quickly before you continue, did you see the whole thing about Rockstar?
That's part of this.
Right,
I'm going to get there. This, on the heels of Rockstar, which is what Lando's talking about, saying that if you buy a physical copy of GTA 6, that the box is going to have a code in it. You're buying, literally, a box of fucking nothing. You're buying a box of nothing. Nothing. So, nobody's going to listen to this because not enough people listen to us and we don't have enough influence, which is this is one of the rare times that I actually wish we had a massive Joe Rogan-esque following. Because unlike that lunatic, we would use our powers for good here and there. Because my message to anybody who may hear this is supposedly, and I don't actually believe this, although I did read a very funny little conspiracy theory about why this may be, because there's been these little drifty rumors that Rockstar will in fact release a disc version in December.
Okay.
And that's because people are saying, well, the game's not done.
Okay.
They can't finish it in time.
So apparently, PlayStation was all lit up with when you turned PlayStation on recently, you may have noticed that there was like Rockstar shit everywhere. Like their logo changed, they were advertising the game, all this shit came up, right? And then after the decision, after Sony announced the whole no disc thing, there was a really volatile reaction. So much so that even Sony PlayStation didn't comment on it 24 hours. They actually stepped away from social media for 24 hours to kind of be like, okay, let's just let this go. Rockstar may have apparently turned to Sony and said, hey, we don't really want to be linked to the negativity of this, so can you take all our shit down? Because right now, there's just too much heat. And all the Rockstar stuff seemed to just kind of disappear from the desktop on the PlayStation. Like, the logo went back to normal. Suddenly there was an advertisement for the game that's not coming out yet for a while. Like, it got very quiet. And it was people are so irritated about this that even Rockstar was like, yeah, we don't want to be linked necessarily to this decision, even though we're part of it. And the thing is, a lot of people don't understand the significance of Sony doing this. My wife didn't. She was like, well, what's the big deal? She's like, so much is digital at this point. And I said, yeah, but in doing this, you immediately kill the secondhand market. You make it so that I can't buy a game and let my friend play it. I can't share a game. I can't put it on my shelf and play it at a later time. You're making it so that I can only play this game on my system as me, and somebody else is going to have to basically buy the game if they want to play it. There's no secondhand market for buying, cheaper games. You've killed that as well. You've basically made it so that all we can do is buy the game at the price that you give it to us, and that's it. And if you don't want to pay that price, then you're going you're fucked. It's like, that's a big deal. Secondhand games, secondhand movies, secondhand books. It's important to have access, in my opinion. And I think it is shitty. It is a mean-spirited profit grab. But not everyone sees it that way.
And this is what I mean about I wish we had more influence, because what I would tell people, as far as this thing where they might release it on disc in December, which I don't believe that's actually confirmed. I think they're doing that to try to tamp down the negative response to this, because Sony's getting it too. Where there was a poll that Digital Foundry did, who covers a lot of this technical stuff, that 80-something% of the respondents said, I will not buy another console after the PS5 now, if this is where they're going. Now, that's a very select audience. Because Digital Foundry has always been about game preservation, but still.
I specifically bought the PS5 with the disc.
Me too. Yeah. So, this is the thing I will tell people. And this is where I say, A, we don't have enough influence because of audience, and I don't know whether people would do it anyway, but I was never going to buy GTA 6, to be honest, because I'm bored of it. I don't care. But if I was, I would not buy it until it would be available digitally. And my message to people is, if you think this is bad, which you should, because this is the end of you owning anything, to Lando's point. It's all going to be 1984 on your Kindle. Or I guess not, depending on when you connect it.
Didn't they just pull a whole bunch of movies off of people's PlayStation units?
They did, and they closed some of their digital stores, yes. So it's like they literally communicated why this was bad, ironically, right when they did it. They also demonstrated why people should be upset about it. I don't think they realized the message they were actually sending by what they were doing at the time.
Well,
if they'd been smart,
this is when,
they would have done it like 6 months later.
Did Amazon pull a whole bunch of books off of people's Kindles at one point?
1984. That's why I said 1984. They pulled 1984 off people's Kindles.
And I'm kind of like, okay.
Which is why my
I'm
Kindle is in permanent airplane mode now. That's it.
I like my hard copy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
but listen,
if you
that's where they want this to be. They want to control it at every aspect. And I was just having this conversation today.
I agree. The only way it could be stopped dead
is if
give
them
sales
their money.
Of digital went through the floor. That's it.
Yeah, don't give them
money. If
Rockstar
failed in their pre-orders and people said, because you're not giving me physical, let me tell you something. You'd have a disc in fucking 15 minutes.
So
and this whole thing would be reversed.
Here's the thing about power in capitalism, right? At the end of the day, the power in capitalism comes from organization, right? Organization and staying together. So, like, unions work as well as they do because they create a group of people that a corporation then has to deal with, right? And that's why, if anyone crosses the line, they get very upset about it because it is as a group that you are most dangerous. And this is every part of society. What's comical about capitalism is people actually have a tremendous amount of power in capitalism. They just don't see it because it's a very mundane sort of action. But if tomorrow, every gamer just didn't buy GTA, don't buy it for 6 months. Just wait. That's all you got to do. I don't need you to slay a dragon. I don't need you to shoot a CEO. Just don't buy a game for 6 months. Do you understand the effect that would have on Rockstar Games? The titanic wave of shit that it would create for them? And all I require is a person to just not buy the game. I'm not even telling you to never buy it. Just don't buy it for 6 months. Right? Now, the counterpoint to this is that we as humans are not organized. I mean, this goes back to my argument of always. We're not organized. We don't have an immense amount of willpower. We want our couch comfort. We don't want to have to, quote unquote, suffer. But we actually have a tremendous amount of power in this society as long as we're willing to basically grab corporations by the one place that they're weak. Their fucking money. I mean, we talked about this. What was the thing with Facebook? If everyone just stopped using Facebook, Facebook would start to collapse. They said in like 2 years, something like that. Not Amazon, because they have AWS. But like a lot of these companies, they require you to go fucking crazy and pay their prices. And when you don't pay their prices, they immediately are hurt. They are creating a game and raising the price on you every moment, and you continue to play because you forget the fact that you can just walk away. So if you don't like what Sony's doing, walk away. It'll hurt. If you don't like that Rockstar is putting out fucking a code instead of a physical object, don't buy it. The problem is, everybody crosses the line. Everybody goes, well, I don't like this, but I really want to play that game, so I'll just fucking do it. It's okay. And everyone just says, oh, it's okay. And then society just slides further in that sort of fascist direction. It's like, because it doesn't seem like a big deal, it also doesn't seem like a big deal when you cross the line. When you just fucking support these corporations despite all the evil shit that they decide they want to do to you. I mean, recently at Monsanto in the Supreme Court case, basically they said, it's not their fault that you didn't know it gave you cancer. You can't sue them. And you're like, wait, what? What just fucking happened? Like, yeah. You got to walk away. If you're angry, walk away. Don't give them your money. Don't give them your attention. I mean, give them your attention and bitch at them, because that won't sustain them. But just take your money and go elsewhere. Yeah. It's tremendous. If you could get even like a third of the market of people to do that, Rockstar would change its tune. Because we're in this age now where everything has to be a hit, or else it's not, or it's a failure. Like Rockstar needs to hit so hard with this game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That if they don't,
And by the way, I want to make this very clear, because again, Unfortunately, even though if you were to listen to our shows for long enough, you'd already know me, that this is how I am about things. I'm not saying that there should be no digital video games, because I do understand that small teams cannot afford to issue physical, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about multi-billion-dollar companies.
You're saying don't get rid of the option.
Yes, and in fact, on the other side of it, if Rockstar were to reverse it and release a physical, then buy it. And then say, the only reason I'm buying this, or, I wasn't going to buy this, but you released it in physical. Okay, fine. Then buy it.
You gave me what I wanted.
That's fine.
But it's not that hard. Yeah.
Yes. Right. But it's not me saying that you shouldn't ever buy digital games. If it's a 2-person team that's making something out of the love of it and they can't afford to have physical media, I get that. That's not what I'm talking about. Those people also, I'm sure, would say, well, we don't want to destroy all physical media. We just can't afford to issue it on a disc. Okay, fine. That's not the same thing. Let's not pretend it is. There's no reason. Well, there's not no reason. There's no consumer benefiting reason that Rockstar and Sony could not continue to release physical stuff. And they'll point to digital sales and blah, 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 blah. But what they won't tell you, or what they won't highlight about that, is that there has been a concerted effort to discount digital games more than physical. You can see it. There are games that you go and you look at buying it in a store, and it's full price, and yet Sony runs a half-off sale on the digital version. Do you think that's accidental? They're still licensing the game the same way. And if you're going to come back to me with, well, there's a physical cost to making buy, fuck off. It's not that much for how much they make. I will not accept, still won't, accept these garbage arguments that companies that make more money than many small countries put together can afford to put a box and a disc out for people if they want to retain ownership of their stuff. Wrong. If that's your argument, fuck you. I don't want to hear it. Which I don't often say to the audience, and I'm pretty confident that none of our audience would say that. But anybody who might have that thought drift across your mind, don't. They have plenty of cash to do this. It is minimal. I've looked. If I ever wanted to make Blu-rays of something, and especially at the scale that a large company can afford, it's nothing. Nothing. Except there is one cost that is very high when it comes to these companies. They lose control of the media that you have. That's the cost that they care about. So, if this is valuable to you, then don't buy GTA 6 unless it's on physical. That's all. I'm not saying don't buy it. Don't buy it unless it's on physical. Now, again, we don't have enough of an audience that's going to make a dent. And even if everybody who listened told 10 people, it still won't be enough to make a dent. But I'm saying that the real thing here is not about whether it's on a disc or not. It's about control and ownership of things that you have. And the more this is accepted, as Lando pointed out, with your money, the more it will happen until you're going to turn around, assuming you even have money anymore, and it's not just all a credit rating that's tied to your name that you can't control. Because let me tell you, that's where it's going. And I know I'm starting to sound like a cyberpunk paranoid Philip K. Dick lunatic here, but there's too much indication that that's where,
listen, I can't tell you how often, because I'm a strong believer in cash. I can't believe how often I'll go to pay for something in cash and people will be like, oh, we can't take that. I'm like, you can't take legal government tender?
You know what? The timing of this is astonishing because I am not exaggerating, everybody. I would say hand to God, but that wouldn't mean anything. I'm not exaggerating that there's a search on my phone from earlier today that if I was able to give you my ISP records as a receipt, I would. That was, is it illegal to not take cash? And as it turns out, it's not. There are some state laws and city laws that make it illegal, but generally, legal tender can only be forced to settle a debt. No, they don't. Only to settle a debt, not for a transaction. So if you owed money, like if you were in collection,
then they would have to take
and all you had was cash, they would have to take it. But as far as you walking in and buying a candy bar, they absolutely can refuse it.
Wow, they can refuse it.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yes, I know. And now, everybody, if you weren't aware of that either, start thinking about it. Think about what that means. Like, I'm not saying pay with everything with doubloons, but I am saying that it's an option. Here's the overall thing. The more options you lose, the fewer you're left with. It's just that simple. Even if you don't believe any of this.
Here's a question then for you, right? Where are we headed? Where are we headed with all this?
I mean, wherever we allow it to head.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is, we have, as a species, right, in the last, let's say the last 2,000 years. In the last 2,000 years, the monies have changed, different currencies in different worlds. Like, I mean, there have been societal collapses, and then society builds up elsewhere. Is that what we're headed towards? Are we headed to the next big societal collapse? And then the world, because the Roman Empire was big, and then there was Roman money everywhere, and then the Roman Empire slowly kind of fell apart and broke them into lots of little places, and then, other groups became big, and then there was different money. I mean, and gold has been kind of like a weird, consistent currency for long periods of time, but there's always been different kind of monies and, different societies. And I kind of look at the past and I look at the future and I say, okay, well, where are we headed with all this? Because you're going to digitize everything, and then at some point or another, something is going to happen, and you're going to lose it all. Do we just start over? Is that what happens? Like, listen, let's say, and this is why I'm asking, let's say the end goal is there's no money, and everything's an online system, and everything's Wi-Fi, and, you've got a chip in your wrist or something, whatever. Or they've just stuck it in your brain when you're a baby. Who cares? It's all digital and it's all online, and you don't really own anything anymore. Music is in the air, so is the movies and the games, and it's all there. And then one day you get a weird solar spike of radiation, and everything gets fucking fried. Do you start over? Is that what we're headed for? There'll be like a few antique shops that suddenly become incredibly important. It's like people. My wife made fun of Demolition Man the other day when I watched it with my son, and she was like, "This is so ridiculous." Yeah. I'm like, "Is it?" I was like, "I don't think any vision of the future is ridiculous anymore. I think everything."
I agree.
It kind of pulls some string out of our fears and our wonders and our beliefs as to what could happen. So I look at all this stuff, and I look at all this cash grab, and I look at all this shit that's going on in our society, and I look at the corporations, and I sit there and I go, what's the end? What's the end goal here? What do they just...
Well, I think...
Yes.
My theory is it depends on who you ask, number one. Because I think if you ask the people that have the money and the power, now they'll never say this, but what their ideal vision is that for everybody else, it's life as a service. Life is a live service. You don't own anything. You rent everything from them. They have all the cards, and you pay to get to see them occasionally. I mean, this country is basically that, right? I mean, in a lot of the world, I shouldn't say most. I don't have enough knowledge to say most, but in many places that are of comparable affluence, that's the best term I come up with. It's not, your wealth is not tied to your ability to literally live. You can get health care and not worry about going bankrupt. Not here. Here, it's a very real concern. In fact, most of this country lives under a black cloud of terror that they will lose the ability to have insurance because they will not afford
injury,
to be able
sickness.
To be alive.
Yeah.
Right. So just broaden that out to everything, because the reality is there are many, and we've seen these quotes from people who obviously don't bother to study anything, where they say, well, you know what, I don't know why I should have so much sympathy for the poor. They go to movies, they eat fast food, Why aren't they using all that money to get themselves into better housing? Assuming that those people's lives, from beginning to end, should only be consumed with survival elements. That they should never have luxury or leisure.
Yeah, why should you have a
time off from stress?
Yeah.
Right. So, if you just take that and blow it up, that's what they think. Is that if you can't afford luxury like they can, you don't deserve it. And if you think you should, pay me. You need to rent a portion of my luxury and leisure. Otherwise, shut up and go back to working in the mines, making sure that my stuff doesn't get interrupted. Why else would these people, instead of trying to, I don't know, denuclearize the world, instead they buy silos and islands and plot of going to Mars because they can't stand being near the stinky regulars. They can't take it. They're so gross and poor. That's why. Because that's how they see the world. Ultimately, exorbitant wealth makes you into a mutant. And the irony of that transformation is that as a disgusting, morally distorted mutant, the only way you can see anybody else who doesn't look like you is as a disgusting, poor mutant. And you want them exterminated. Or at least, if you can't kill them yourself, I don't want to see them.
And yet you need them to buy your product or else you don't exist.
They can't think that way.
Right?
Of course. But the only way they can live is to work. And if you own all the means of production, they work for you. And the nice part is, once you own enough, you never got to look at them. Why bother? I know. This sounds horrible.
You know what?
Cyberpunk.
No, listen. I think I said this in one of the previous shows. I think that we're heading towards a period of a reemergence of royalty, except instead of the power of gods, it's money. But you know what? That shit didn't always end well.
Hey, I was just going to say, you said it at the top, man. Violence. It will happen. This is why when the
violence is
Luigi thing happened,
unfortunately, violence is always on the table.
And that's why I'm still astonished that the Luigi thing doesn't happen more. Now, maybe though, and this is what I always kind of sit there and go,
maybe it does. I don't hear about it.
Yeah, and we just don't hear about it. That they find out because not everybody's the smartest about what they're doing or is brazen, and it just gets vanished because there can't be the word out that these people live in terror.
I'm watching that series, The Day of the Jackal, and I'm rooting for the Jackal because he's just killing these rich assholes.
But
and I'm kind of like, yeah.
As an aside,
yeah,
this entire discussion is why I'm never doing ID verification. This is exactly the show that will get disappeared. You know that. Gonzo. Any of this would just be erased. This show would be like the beginning of the first 2014 Godzilla film, where it's just black moments of silence and audio.
Yeah, I know.
Except us going rich and the word good repeated or something like that. Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: rather than use violence for now.
No, I'm suggesting use your wallet. That's what I'm saying.
Use your wallet. Yeah. If you disagree, listen. You want to make capitalism work? You vote with your dollar. That is the way you vote. Every dollar you spend is a vote for or against something. It's that simple, right? You don't like a director? You don't need to shoot him. Just don't fucking pay for his movies. The studio will take care of it. You don't want to, listen to someone's music because you don't like their crazy sex talk in their music. Don't buy their albums. That's fine. That hurts them. You don't need to pick at them or yell at them. They don't give a shit. Don't buy their album. That hurts.
Yeah.
And that's the society, unfortunately, that we live in.
Right.
Money is the vote. Money is the vote.
Yeah.
If you have enough money, you can buy people to vote for you. It's that simple. Or you can pay them to rig the system so that you never lose. But at the end of the day, your products have to be bought by someone. If those people don't buy your product, you do hurt. And listen, Amazon is still a company that can be taken down. There are other options out there outside of AWS. I don't know what they are because I don't know enough about the way these things work, unfortunately. But they cannot be the only game in town. This is where you tell me they're the only game in town, right?
Well, they're not the only game in town, but there's a good likelihood that any other game in town is in fact still using them.
Yeah. Well, that's why Amazon is a bigger problem than a lot of the other ones. But you know what? Listen, MySpace isn't really around anymore, is it? You don't hear about them fucking people over. But hey, was it Ford? Oh man, it's like the biometrics that they want to get into cars now, so they can like scan your eyes and see where you're looking. Of course. And like, Jesus Christ.
Well, they're already doing that with the thing that you plug in to get your rates to be lower because they know that some people can't afford that. They literally need to.
You want
be
lower
able to
insurance? Let us spy on you and sell the data.
Oh, they do it with health insurance too. A lot of people work at a place where if you allow them to monitor your health status, or you enroll in programs to be healthier, then your rates go down because they've understood correctly that. Rather than just keep raising the price, what they do is they lower it in ways that benefit them. So they're offsetting whatever those savings are with being able to have new ways to deny you things because they can point and say, well, we noticed that you smoke, so we really shouldn't cover
you didn't go for enough walks. You intentionally hurt yourself.
Yeah.
We're not paying.
Yes.
Insurance is a huge scam, I know.
Well, there you go. Right?
Yeah.
That's my point. So you're asking, where does this go? If you're asking the people that are at the top, they want it where they sit comfortably and don't have to worry about anything.
And you just suffer. Okay.
While the dirtbags continue to do what they do because they're dirtbags and they don't deserve any different because if they did, they'd be where they were. And that's literally another thing that a lot of these people give away when they talk is they're like, well, if they were so smart, why aren't they sitting here on the stage with me? As if, they weren't beneficiaries of trusts.
Well, it's if they didn't. Yeah, if they didn't start out with more money than most people have. Yeah, because that's the thing with the Amazon guy, where Bezos, where he's like, well, I started Amazon and it was like nothing, and it's like, yeah, you started Amazon with a massive loan from your parents.
Yes, right. And I'm not going to say that there's no one that's ever existed that has made something magnificent out of nothing. I'm sure those people exist, but they are by far the minority. Most of the people who exist now who are at that top Bezos level did not get there because they worked their fingers to the bone on an idea and a dollar.
Yeah, Elon Musk had a ton of money. Bezos' family gave him a ton of money.
Yes.
Right. The Trumps are basically, what do you call it? The mining thing that destroys the land.
Oh, strip mining. Or
they're strip mining.
Fracking, all that stuff.
Yeah, the democracy. And and the thing is, you see it now.
You see it now with companies like NVIDIA, who basically like say OpenAI, and this isn't specifically AI, but this happens all the time. This is the most current example that you could look right up as you're listening to the show. They're basically just circulating money between themselves. So NVIDIA invests in OpenAI some amount of money with the agreement that OpenAI will buy only NVIDIA cards. And so basically they're just circulating money so that the stock price keeps going up because that's where the real money comes from. So they're literally laundering money. That's what they're doing. That's another thing. You can't do that. Where are your tax breaks? Ask yourself that if you're in America. Now, I can't speak to anywhere else. But here, companies and corporations, these people barely pay any taxes. Instead, most people do. They also can afford the healthiest food. They can also afford the best health care. They can live in the safest places with the best climates. Meanwhile, what they're doing is making everything worse for everybody else. I mean, this makes me sound like some kind of lunatic leftist psychopath. But this is not leftist stuff anymore. This is just mainstream observation.
Interesting.
Just is.
You know what? I was just curious to see if an AI would give me an answer, because you know how like you wonder sometimes, is the AI going to give me a straight answer on this?
Sure.
And I actually just asked Gemini, would society be better if the 1% mega rich were fired into a black hole? You know, I don't want it to think that I'm actually going to, you know.
Hypothetically, what would happen if?
Yeah, exactly, right? Because, you know, there are lists, right? And I'm fascinated by the answer that it gave me here. Because did
it take it literally?
Oh, it did. It did. And it talked about what would happen. So, but that's...
Okay.
It's funny because at first it was like the economy would instantly freeze when
oh yeah, that probably
the wealth,
happen.
yeah, the 1%, their wealth is tied up in assets. But then it goes, but there'd be a leadership vacuum if the founders, CEOs, and majority shareholders of the world's largest banks, tech giants, logistic networks, and energy sectors suddenly vanished. Their companies would plunge into chaos. Stock markets would halt trading immediately to prevent an absolute crash. There would be a credit freeze. But then this part,
that's all true.
I thought was fascinating. The wealth itself wouldn't magically distribute to the public, which I didn't think it would. It would legally belong to their estates, heirs, and business partners.
Of course.
Freezing these massive estates and would take decades in probate court to figure out. Wouldn't it be funny if we had a decade of these people fucking each other over and the rest of us could just kind of quietly get by?
Sure.
Anyway, but this is the negative aspect of it. I do get that. During that legal gridlock, which is comical, companies would struggle to pay employees or make operational decisions, leading to mass layoffs. Right? Yeah. But then those companies themselves would fall apart, right? I mean, and then I guess my thing is, wouldn't new companies then rise up? Isn't that how capitalism works? Of course they would. If a corporation fails, then another company says, hey, we can do that.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I love this. Society naturally abhors a vacuum. If you remove the top layer of power, the group right beneath them would immediately fight to take control of those vacant resources. You wouldn't eliminate the concept of the 1%. You would just get a brand new, likely more ruthless set of people scrambling to become the new elite. So, please don't fire our masters into a black hole.
No. This is going to sound odd, but this is one place where I agree with the AI and what it's saying, because specifically of the way you described it. What that is saying is, if the removal of these people was because they were just suddenly shot into the sun.
Oh wow!
Or whatever, black hole. Yeah.
Okay, there's a little section at the bottom I did not expect called the underlying truth.
Yeah. Okay.
I read this, and for a second there, I was like, what did you just say? The root of the problem isn't the physical existence of the people themselves. It's the systematic structure of global economics.
And that's exactly where I was going. Go ahead.
And I'm amazed by this, that it included this right at the bottom in fine print. If society wants to fix inequality, tax reform, close loopholes, implementing progressive tax systems so wealth circulates back into public infrastructure, education, and healthcare. Corporate governance, ensure workers have better wage protections, collective bargaining rights, and say in company leadership. Getting rid of billionaires might sound like a quick fix, but without changing the rules of the game just breaks entirely.
And that's
fascinating.
Exactly where I was going when I said the problem is with your premise.
Yeah.
Is the way that you phrase it is they just disappear, but none of the problems that prop them up. I was just curious to
see if it would give me a bullshit answer.
No, it gave you the correct answer at the bottom, which is you can't just shoot these people into the sun. Like literally, Luigi going around killing all these people would not have solved it, because
no, it would
that answer was correct. Yeah. That because they're gone, somebody else will step into their place, which would be whoever is the vice president.
Yeah, you have to change the system itself.
Yes,
and that's a harder uphill battle.
The problem is, you know what? I don't know how hard a battle it is. The problem is people have been led to believe it's difficult. People have been led to believe that they're stupider, weaker, and less powerful than they are. Your entire point about how if people just stop buying a product, if no one shopped on Amazon tomorrow, period, and didn't buy anything for a month, that company would be sold off to you or me for $20 because that's all that holds it up. That's all. So it's not difficult. If people across the entire country that were not here, I'll give you a good example because this is the one I usually use. If people who worked at a company where the person at the top of the company did not know who you were by name and that you could comfortably talk to, if those people just didn't show up, those companies would be in real trouble, and that would end it. Because what are they going to do if nobody shows up? What are they going to do? Now, you could say, oh, they'll go and they'll hire people off the street. You think so? You think those people could just walk in there and start? No, they can't. They can't. This is why they fear unions so much. It's because workers have power.
It depends on who walks, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It would have to be everybody.
Yeah. And the thing is,
again,
listen,
I'm being specific.
And people have to be trained. That's the other thing, too, is that you need...
Sure.
It takes a while to train people into systems.
But again, because I'm the person who complains about nuance not being brought into the conversation.
Yep.
This is why I make the point where if you know the person at the top and they know you, that's different. That's small business, which is completely different than a corporation.
Than a faceless
where everything is spreadsheets. Completely different. If you have a good relationship with everybody at your company and you know the person at the top and you believe what they're doing is ethical and you're with it,
it's a different entity.
You show up.
Yeah.
And that, by the way, right there will send a message. Well, wait a second. Why are these people showing up? Oh, because the company actually values them. They mean something. They're not just a name or a number or a how much are we paying for benefits. Because start looking, by the way, if nobody knows this, start looking into the idea of contract work and how that works and why so many of them do it, or part-time labor and what you don't get as a part-time worker in this country. Again, I can't speak to everywhere. I'm talking about here. If all that was rebelled against, it would vanish. It'd have to, because these people would lose all their wealth.
Didn't Home Depot
what good is money when everyone's gone?
They made most of their workforce part-time so they wouldn't have to pay for health care?
Yeah.
So,
so when you're asking where's it heading, that's where they want it to head.
We need to get off the doom and gloom. We've been at it now for more than an hour.
That's true. Well, have we?
Yes.
No. We had a nice discussion about Cyberpunk that wasn't doom and gloom. I mean, it's about doom and gloom, but we talked about good examples.
It was literature about doom and gloom.
It was literature. I said Snow Crash has a happy ending. No, it's not all doom and gloom.
Literature adjacent.
And Nirvana. Nirvana's got a happy ending depending on how you look at it. Not the guy that died, but I guess he did.
I don't think he dies.
No, I mean the video game character.
Oh yeah, I think he's erased, which is what he wanted. That's exactly it. He wanted out of the game.
Yeah,
literally. Yeah. So
he didn't want to be. He didn't want to be a worker in a giant corporation that didn't value him. See, it all comes back around, baby.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, it's like a giant toilet. We eventually come right back around. All right.
Yes.
We'll get off the gloom and doom. Sort of.
Okay.
My wife and I watched the Apple TV show Widow's Bay.
I kept hearing good things about. Vaguely, yeah.
It is. We will watch it. It is spectacular. It is hard to emphasize. My wife at the end of it said something that I think will say it all. She said, "Yeah, this is what Stranger Things couldn't keep being." And I was like, "Ooh, that's a good phrase," because it feels like it's set in the 80s, but it's not. It's set in modern time, but it feels like a Stephen King story. It's like a small northeastern island town or island.
The small town thing helps. I think that's the thing is that a lot of the interconnectedness. This is one of the things actually I like about the the Japanese culture is that a lot of the Japanese kind of like horror-y supernatural stuff. It kind of gets into the idea of the technology. Like it uses the technology, right? Because in a lot of like classical American kind of folk horror, the technology has to be disrupted. It can't be involved. It's got to go away. There's got to be no signal. Whereas, like I feel in the Japanese culture, they've just found a way. I mean, they've found a way to bring it in, and they have all these, modern concepts of haunting that are just so wonderfully weird. So yes, and that is the thing. Why does a lot of horror work better in the 80s and the 90s? There's cell phones. Cell phones immediately change the equation, I think, for me. Then you add smartphones to that. In fact, So, you have to find a setting where that technology isn't quite there. So, like, small town, island life, something like that, where it's like you can kind of limit people So, but I'm glad that it was good. I literally know nothing about it. I just heard that it was a good series.
It's they describe it as a comedy horror series, which I would say it's a horror series with some comedic elements. I would not start off saying it's a comedy. Its comedy is not the main point. It is a haunted island anthology series.
Oh,
because there are episodes. Yes, so the first season is 10
a series
episodes.
of short movies, or is it like a
No, it is an ongoing. The islands, whatever, is the background ongoing thing. Something is causing all this, but you will have episodes where something starts and resolves before the episode is over, and that element never comes back. So this one-off thing that the island manifests, that terror begins and ends in one episode. But the background of why is this happening goes on. Like, okay, we beat this thing, but the island manifested it, and we need to figure out why and how to stop that. So it is a lot like X-Files was. Or,
I was going to say, it sounds very X-Files.
Well, Farscape, really. I mean, Farscape was like that, where, the peacekeepers were always out there, but they weren't in every episode.
Nope, that's true.
But they were all, they were going to, like, Scorpius was around, even in the episodes he wasn't around in.
Yeah, he was.
Once he showed up, you're like, fuck, man, he's coming back at some point, right? Yeah, he is. So it's like that, where it starts off and everybody in the town who's a local already knows that the island has a problem. It's just that most people, because it's one of those things where it's dormant and you don't exactly know why, you figure out why, but there's a dormancy to it. And so people who show up during the period of dormancy are like, island folks and their scary stories for the locals, or for the tourists, I mean. They just like to do that to attract people. And
is the dormancy in the summer, like, vacation period? Does it start to get weird?
It's not completely spelled out yet, but it appears to be how many people get fed to it.
Oh.
It seems. Or I guess I shouldn't even say that. That may not actually be accurate. It depends on what the offering requested and fulfilled is. They use the word offering, so I'll use that. It's not always clear that has to be people.
Some kind of ancient folk evil.
Yeah, it's very, very. It's got. There's some element of Blair Witch in there. There's some of, like, Eyes of Fire in there. It's got that feeling to it. But like I said, then there are episodes where one thing happens. And by the end, that thing has been dispelled because it's an offspring of this larger problem. But things don't just persist forever. They're not just stacking shit infinitely, like Lost did, where they just keep throwing and throwing and throwing. Because at first I was like, oh, this is Lost. But no, this is actually good. This is not Lost.
That's kind of what it sounds like to me at first.
Yeah, except that they answer, you can grasp the main problem. It's not so murky that you have no idea why things are happening. And those one-off episodes, those things may have been mentioned, may not have. But again, there's at least one, two. Oh, yeah, there's the Sea Hag one is excellent. But those things are either dead or banished by the end of the episode, and they don't come back. That's it. They're either tied to a local, well, in some cases they're tied to a local lore. They may be tied to a person, Needful Things style. There is that too. Not a store, but there's like the thing where, well, it's this person and this weakness that they have or this need that they have manifested this thing. But then once they confront it, it's gone. And it doesn't come back. But it's a byproduct of living in this kind of vortex of supernatural malevolence. Not pure evil, because there is the flip side where if you just appease it, the times are good and you'll be fine. But what is the cost?
Sounds a bit Lovecraftian.
Are you willing to pay the cost? Very. There is a major Lovecraftian element to it. There's also a little bit of, like, Control, the video game. There's a little bit of that in there. There's a lot of that type of stuff. It's excellent. You and I will watch it because I could rewatch this right now. It was that good. And in fact, now, people listening won't know this, but I was playing a song before we started the show, and that song is directly from the show because that song has been looping in my head because they use it so well. And it's like it's actually kind of a heartbreaking sequence once you realize what's going on. It's great. So, if you haven't watched it, and you like, if you felt like Stranger Things kind of veered too far away from what the first season accomplished so well, but you want something that's more adult geared, Widow's Bay is that. It's very, very good, especially if you like Stephen King. This is pure, like if it had been called Castle Rock, but they already had a series called Castle Rock. This feels like a Castle Rock tale or whatever, or stories from Lobsterville.
I think if I lived someplace like that, I think I would move. I mean, I know that you can't just easily. No,
yeah. They have an answer for that.
Oh yeah,
you can't leave. Well, you can if you want to have a stroke and be committed.
So no,
one of the things.
Hold on, wouldn't the island immediately have a population problem then?
No, not if you stay there. No. If you are born on the island, you can't leave. If you come from the outside, you can leave. But if you are a child born there and you go past a certain radius, something will happen to you. You may live, but you won't want to be alive. So no.
Okay.
There's enough people there. I'll also say this.
Yeah.
It's not like, as far as I could tell, it's been like that forever. There was an event. As far as I can tell, there was a plague and a deal was offered to someone to stop it. And once that was done, a payment of recurring whatever was set up. The details of that are still not all fleshed out.
I'll be curious to know what the overall mythology that ends up being. Like,
it may very well just be a minor demon. It's not like the things that are happening are necessarily world ending.
Yeah.
The rest of the world seems fine.
You just can't get to it.
Not if you were born there.
I always have issue with things like that, just because in the larger view, it's like, wouldn't someone have noticed this by now and come looking? Like, listen, in Stranger Things, the government eventually showed up. I mean, actually, the government was there. You know, like, is this something that nobody believes, or is this something that, people have actually paid attention to?
I think that there are people who are aware, but when there's these long periods where there's no recordable phenomenon.
But you still can't leave, even when nothing happens.
Well, if you leave, you'll suddenly have a heart attack. And how do you explain that it was the island, right? Or you have a massive stroke and are left unable to speak and you're just spewing gibberish. How do you prove that's an island? How do you prove it?
No, I guess you're right.
What, because a small group of locals say there's always been something wrong here? Yeah. Oh, okay, great. Well, in that case, we're going to cordon the place off and nuke it. Right? I mean, come on.
No, you're right in that respect, yeah.
That's,
Well,
what was I just reading about today? That there was something that was based on a real thing. What the hell was it? Oh, we're rewatching What We Do in the Shadows, and one of the characters is an energy vampire, right?
Yeah.
That's based on a real thing that somebody adamantly believes exists. They took the concept from a book by this woman who was trying to write a instruction manual, which I now want to read, about how to beef up your psychic defenses against creatures like this that will sap your strength by making you bored to death or incite anger. It's based on a real concept. Now that woman, I'm not saying this is real, everybody, I'm just saying that take this into modern day. That book is written by somebody who adamantly believes that there is such a thing as energy vampires that exist all around us.
Oh, and listen, there's this book out there about this invisible man in the sky who loves you, but if you do anything wrong, he'll punish you forever. I mean, and people believe in that book.
How do you prove yes or no?
No, actually, the wild concept that I realized the other day when I was driving around, I don't know why this suddenly occurred to me, is that we know so little about the reason for all of it, that it could be fucking anything. I mean, literally, it could be fucking anything. Existence is so weird and big and bizarre. It could be anything. We have theories. Yes. We have ideas based on information that we've collected. But you know what? I'm not even sure the stars are out there. Scientifically, we have information. But, I mean...
Look, I've said... I've used this example
That's a hypothesis, you know?
I've used this example before. I use it again.
Yeah.
I think that Douglas Adams hit on something much deeper than he really maybe necessarily knew when he came up with the idea of the planet of cricket, and how when they found out there was something beyond them, they said, yep, we got to kill it all. Because you know, and I know, and people listening know, that if tomorrow a veil was lifted and we found out we were surrounded by Starfleet, there would be people here who were like, nope, it's got to go. Because it ain't us.
And then hopefully...
And we're the only ones because God put us here. By the way, I did find out some fascinating stuff about Christianity and aliens, which you may already have known, but I certainly didn't. Which was, well, how do you, if there are aliens, how do you, how does that factor in with Jesus and everything?
Well, it doesn't.
No, it does. No, it does.
In the Bible?
Jesus and God, well, specifically original sin and all that stuff, as they were explaining it, that only applies here. Doesn't apply anywhere else.
Okay, listen. Okay.
No, I'm just saying, they've got it covered.
No.
I mean, I'm using that phrase liberally, but I'm saying they've got it covered.
Listen, they have a book, and the book has a lot of weird rules in it, right? Yeah. And most people don't even read the goddamn book, which is hilarious. Most people run around. This is like running around killing people over, like, what specifically are the instructions to your radio, whereas you've never actually sat down and read the radio instructions. And then when you do read the radio instructions, you're like, what? Oh, my God, that makes no fucking sense. Yeah, well, that's religion. So, no. The thing is that this book was translated, the one that most of us follow, which is the King James Bible, was translated hundreds of years after these events. Oh, hundreds, not even more than that. Fucking hell. The Council of Nicaea didn't meet till 500 years after Jesus' death, right? So no, I mean, this book was it is such a propaganda piece put together. There were so many different gospels. There's so many different stories. This shit was put together. And we follow it because historically it has been followed, right? But you don't know. And here's the thing. When you learn about all the religions that existed before Christianity, and you learn about the way that Christianity kind of like started piggybacking on the ideas of other religions to bring their imagery in, and how like Christianity, how they tried to convert the Vikings, it is so barbarically short-sighted to think that your religion somehow is the one that does it all. Because let me tell you, the Jews are going to argue about it. The Muslims are going to argue about it. The Hindu are going to argue about it. The Buddhists don't know what the fuck you're talking about, right? Well, and those are just the big ones, So it's like,
that's why I found it interesting that they don't seem to be making that argument outside of this planet.
And the thing is, and the people who even conceived of this shit never thought about anything beyond Earth.
Well, yeah, of course not.
Right? This is a totally terrestrial belief system, which is, honestly, that's one of the reasons that my brain kind of broke through it, was because I was very religious when I was younger. And I remember I hit a point where my brain was like, wait a minute, if it's all powerful, then why is it so terrestrial? Why were there not explanations of the fucking universe? Because there aren't. You get people like to sidle up to you and go, "Oh, it's all part of God's plan." Now, fucking bullshit, man. I was like, some crazy people wrote this book, and other people revised it, who revised it again, and revision, telephone, and now we got all kinds of weird shit. I'm good. It is a terrestrial work of fiction, just like the Norse, just like the Greeks, just like the Roman gods that they ripped off the Greeks, just like the Buddhists and all the rest of them. It is a terrestrial vision of the universe with Earth at the center. Church was pretty fucking annoyed when they brought in the Copernician. Was it Copernician? How do you pronounce it? Copernicus, the Copernicus system, where the sun is the center.
I think it's Copernican.
Copernicus, there you go. I can never fucking pronounce it. Copernicus.
I think.
You know what? It's much better. I like that. We'll go with Copernicus. That basically,
well, Copernicus is the person. I think Copernican is what
so the
you
idea
describe
that Earth orbited around the sun. They didn't like that idea because if you look at these philosophies, the Earth is in the fucking center, right? It's always in the center because it is a terrestrial belief system, right? And that's why the reality is we have no fucking idea how weird the universe could be. We've got theories based off of light that's hitting us possibly hundreds of thousands of years out of sort. We don't actually know what's going on out there. That's the big thing, is that, light is traveling, at light speed, but there's still years of distance for it to travel. So for all we know, there's tons of shit out there. The light just hasn't gotten to us. There's no way for us to communicate. Existence is so much more mysterious and fantasy and science fiction than anything you can conceive of. And most of us try really hard not to think about it because it is so vastly scary, the concept that it could be just about fucking anything. Like you said, there could be a big veil around us because the aliens don't trust us. Or there could be a whole fucking Starfleet out there. The light just hasn't gotten to us. We don't know. You don't know any of it. It's that whole thing is that, we're an electron floating in an atom and a soap bubble and a giant's bathtub. Like, who fucking knows? And that is both terrible and amazing and awesome that, it could be anything. Could the people with the Christian book be right? You know what? Listen. Life is so random. They could be. But astronomically speaking in the odds, it could be the Pastafarians for all we fucking know. Maybe the Jedis are right. Maybe George Lucas was right. There's no way of knowing, and that's amazing. It's just that then you got these assholes who are killing each other over the fucking radio manual that they haven't read. Talking about their white blonde Jesus and how he wants to kill the gays and the trans because God doesn't want them. But God made everything. Your God made everything, right? So is he just making target practice for you? Is that what it is? How do you explain God making things that you don't like? If he made all of it. I mean, to some degree, isn't God then working against you because he's making stuff that you don't like? Hey, we hate those people, but I made them, by the way. Fucking hell. So the universe is huge and weird. We're desperately trying to scientifically understand it, but it's just so tremendous. It's just so big and so out there, and we can't get out there. So we have theories about what's going on, but we don't know for sure. And that's the beauty of science. Science has a theory. It makes shit up. And that concludes my unfortunate lecture on religion and the possibility of everything.
Well, hold on, let me check the... No, not yet. Okay, I was just checking the time, make sure. Well, before we move on to our movies, just to reinforce the point, Widow's Bay, exceptionally good. Wife and I both loved it. And speaking of Jedi, because I just reread the Tales of the Bounty Hunters books, I'm not going to relitigate IG-88 and how awesome he is. I already did that. I actually had somebody comment something to me like, oh wait, what was the comment? It was so beautiful and how dismissive it was of how much I cared about IG-88. It was great. Hold on, I will find it because I know where it was. It was on Discord. Somebody had mentioned that we should watch something animated related to Star Wars. Where was it? Here it is. Okay. Star Wars Visions presents The Ninth Jedi, which...
Oh, yeah, I just saw an ad for that.
Yeah. Yes. The comment referenced it. I was just thinking about it today while you were talking about the short story about IG-88 or whatever its name is. That's great. Enough care about what we were talking about to send that along, or whatever its name was. You got its name right, man. But anyway...
Obi Bob, or whatever his name was. You know.
Obi Babam.
That guy.
Obi Babam. That'll be a double reference for some people.
Alex
They'll get that.
Skywalker, right? Alex Skywalker decides to turn to
Jimmy
the night side.
Skywalker. Jimmy Skywalker.
Jimmy Skywalker.
Jimmy.
Yeah. And he gets his light.
but
He gets his light sword, and he looks for Princess Lay Down. What's her name? Yeah, whatever.
Well,
And then,
that's funny. I read the Boba Fett story today, which has Leia laying down and Boba Fett going, I'm not interested, we're not married.
Captain Masturbation in the, what do you call it, the aluminum eagle?
The aluminum Falco. Yeah. The creature from Neverending Story, but all chromed. Anyway.
Chrome Falco.
Yeah.
Chrome Falco, though, let me tell you, you're talking about a cyberpunk name. Chrome Falco is a good goddamn name.
It is, except you wouldn't be able to ride it like he did in the thing, or he'd fall right off. But I was reading the Boba Fett story to finish out the thing. And they mentioned something that I hadn't thought about for so long, which was always one of my favorite elements of Star Wars. And this is going to be a very brief aside, but which was, do you remember the Bomar monks?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Do you remember what those are?
I remember the name, but I don't remember what they are. Fuck
okay.
me, what were they?
They are technically in Return of the Jedi. You see them for a second, or one of them. They are the spider things with the brains in the jars that are just seen on the screen for, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds.
Hold on.
And they were the giveaway toy that I had. You sent away for it. You put it together. Fortunately, and I'm telling you this because I already bought one, they're dirt cheap on eBay. Dirt cheap. Unlike a lot of Star Wars stuff, for whatever reason, I guess people aren't into the Bomar monks anymore.
Oh.
Or maybe it's because they were a giveaway.
I guess I don't remember these guys. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
That's a look.
I remember because before this all got wiped away, Bib Fortuna, Jabba's second in command, who does show up in Outlaws, and it's pretty rad because he does look cool. You forget how creepy he looks.
Oh, is
because
he
he's kind of a buffoon in the movie. He's the one that tries to stop Luke, and he immediately overrides his mind, and Jabba's like, you fucking moron, and like pushes him aside. I have a perfect Twin Peaks inspired piece of artwork with Bib Fortuna, which I have to try to figure out how to illustrate. It's so great in my mind that I don't know that I'll ever... Okay, I'm just going to tell you what it is. Then I'll get back to the Bomar monks. Because essentially what happens for anybody who hasn't seen Return of the Jedi, which is now filed under movies that you assume everybody's seen, but we're old now. There's a scene where Bib Fortuna, who is essentially Jabba's executive assistant, to use the term of the day, shows up. Because Luke shows up looking the coolest he'll ever look. Fucking black robe, green lightsaber, full control of the Force shit. Great. Like, what you want Luke to be the whole movie, he is in Jedi. It's great.
Even though his powers aren't quite there yet.
Well, they are. They are. His powers are where they need to be. He defeats everything in Jedi. What does he not beat?
I know that. But listen, if it had been Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker in the pit with the giant creature, Darth Vader would have ripped that thing in two.
Well, okay. Yes, because he has the dark side. Dark side's more powerful. I'll give you that.
I still feel
he's got
like
access
Luke's
to more
powers are evolving there. He's a Jedi.
I don't know if they're evolving or
still...
if it's that the good side gives you limitations. It just does. There's certain things you can't do.
You can't just rip monsters in half. Yeah, go on.
Well, yeah, I mean, that would, but rather than litigating the Force, which would take us another 4 hours.
Litigating the Force.
Bib Fortuna comes out immediately and is like, no, you can't come in. Yeah. And Luke pulls the shit that Obi-Wan pulled in the first movie. Luke's like, no, he wants to see me. And Bib Fortuna's like, oh yeah, he's been waiting for you. And he brings him right to him, and Jabba gets very pissed because Jabba is not susceptible to the Force. The mind control, anyway. Yes, Darth Vader probably could have liquefied Jabba into little puddles of worms, I'm sure. Luke doesn't do that because he's not evil. So, Luke shows up, and in the extended story, you sort of get the idea that Bib Fortuna has some kind of PTSD from it, which makes sense. That his mind was essentially tricked. He was invaded. Not that I think I would call it mind rape.
Well, no, but he did get a little... He got mind fucked by a Jedi, yeah. And plus,
he completely believes the contrary to what he was told. So there is going to be some problems with that when you have to look in the mirror. And you start to think about, wait a minute, so how many times has that been done to me? Because then you have to wonder, right? Was this the first time? That's the immediate thought is, how many
Jedis have I run into in my life and not realized?
Well, forget the Jedis. How about the Sith? Then you got to really worry about, because they don't care about anything.
No. But then again, like I said, hold on. But you said it earlier. The Sith wouldn't bother. They'd just fucking cut your head off. They'd be like, boom, and then that's it.
Yes. I'm just saying that it does start to, much like if you found the burning bush and you were an atheist, you'd start going, uh-oh, wait a second.
You're like, why is this bush not burning? Did someone spray this with a fire retardant? Am I going to get cancer?
Or, actually, let's flip it around. Or if you are a hardcore believer and you find the burning bush and it's the one from Three Amigos. Uh-oh. So, anyway, I kind of thought, well, what would that do to Bib Fortuna? And so, if you've seen Twin Peaks, there's a sequence where Cooper is in the roadhouse, and everybody in the bar disappears, and the giant appears, who's this supernatural figure. You've seen Twin Peaks? No. Yeah? No?
I have seen Twin Peaks all the way through once.
Okay. So you remember the part where the giant shows up to warn him that Bob is killing somebody. And basically everybody disappears. And the giant says, it is happening again. He says it twice. And he's warning Coop. And I had this idea, oh, wait a minute. What if on the stage that Bib Fortuna was sitting at the table, and the giant's up front, and he says it is happening again, and every table and every chair in the rest of the bar is all Luke Skywalker staring at him. And I'm like, that's a fucking image. Like something about that. And the giant saying it is happening again.
That's a 2-panel comic strip.
No, it's a poster. It's just a poster. Okay. It's a vertical. I could see it in my head. I just have to draw it. I have it literally noted down in an email from like 4 years ago where it just sprang into my head. That it is happening again thing with Bib Fortuna and an infinite amount of black-robed Luke Skywalkers staring at him. It is creepy and is thematically correct all at once. And it crosses two different very, very popular genres. Anyway.
So the monks.
That wasn't the point of this. The monks, in the story, unlike what we find out in the Boba Fett show, Bib Fortuna, after Jabba is killed, gets his brain removed by the monks and implanted into one of those jars. Because they basically, what you find out is if you don't leave, they were allowing Jabba to stay there because they were afraid that he would kill them. So they sort of receded, but once Jabba was gone, and his organization basically fell apart, then anybody who was left over got disembodied and put into the jars for enlightenment. Because that's the ultimate stage of enlightenment. And Bib Fortuna thought he was kind of manipulating them by buying into their religion, not realizing what the final stage was. And then they corner him and they cut his brain out. Yeah, so he thought he was smarter. So he was like, oh, yeah. This is still your holy ground. Oh, yeah, no, I believe. Yeah, okay, because he was trying to figure out how to take over. And instead they corner him in a room and they cut his brain out and they put it in a jar and he wanders around enlightened. So the Beaumont monks are fucking great.
Did they say why enlightened? Like what their version of enlightened means?
Because it's removing all physical materialism. You remove everything but the mind, the seat of consciousness, and you are free to explore all possibility.
Not blowjobs, mind you, but everything else.
I don't know. I mean, if everything is stimuli, I assume there's a port for that.
You know what? You're right. I'm being very short-sighted. There must be a port for that.
Also, I mean, once those nerves are gone,
do you
don't care
anymore? No, of course not. Listen, once your body's gone, your brain will adapt, and
your wants and desires radically shift when you don't have to eat shit.
I had
sleep,
an idea.
Anything else?
I had an idea for a story where someone's brain gets uploaded into like essentially the mainframe of a building, and the building becomes their body, right? And then the idea was, after a period of adjustment, right? What would a mind where with the building was their body, how would that feel? You'd basically, and like you'd have security cameras, there's elevators, all of it is an extension of you, right? So how would that get expressed? You would have your favorites that you'd watch over. You'd have people that you weren't happy with. I mean, and to the people living in this building, it would feel almost like a haunting, wouldn't it?
It would if it didn't like you.
Yeah, exactly.
If it liked you, then it would make sure you never wanted to leave.
Yeah, it would take care of you. So I had an idea to write this. I just didn't know. I didn't think I'd have to write it short enough, because the problem with a story like that is there'd be no central character. The building is the protagonist, and that would be difficult. So, sometimes a thought experiment is unfortunately a thought experiment. Unless I turn it into a murder mystery. Or you'd
have to make the main character would have to be like a maintenance worker or a janitor.
Yeah, yeah. Or though
slowly came to realize that the building
was going on.
Yeah, that was basically rewarding anybody who treated it in a way that
murder mystery. The building kills someone who they know is bad, and then they can't figure out how the person died. Oh, there you go. There's an idea.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
So that said, yes, there's probably a port for that.
Yeah. There's probably a port for that.
Well, you want to talk
but
about
yes, Bomar monks. If you don't know, because again, in the modern thing, I don't know that Bomar monks have ever shown up again. I don't know that they were ever carried over. But one of the things that I feel like has not been regained in the modern version of Star Wars, and this is not going to become another rant on Star Wars, but this is just an objective kind of statement that outside of things like visions and stuff like that, but in the mainstream thing, one of the things I feel like has been lost by the erasure of the extended universe is the weirder things about Star Wars that when people were free to just kind of go crazy, they were able to come up with, like the Bomar monks, which is not something that you could ever put in a Disney show, really, because it's too weird, and the explanation for it is ghastly. Because you'd have to explain why there are spider brains, and there's no explanation for spider brains that makes sense unless you explain that they're cutting brains out of people and putting them into jars. And you'd have to equate that to a religion.
Well, because
and I'm not sure Disney...
because they think it helps.
But again, because it's a religious thing, you're going to have to start wandering down hallways that Disney is not comfortable grappling with.
I know. And that's
what I'm saying is I do bemoan that.
This is the same. We were just talking about this with the Matrix. They don't want to go. Sure. They want to stick to adventure. Don't get into philosophy. Stick to adventure. No, don't go down that hallway. We don't want philosophy. We want adventure.
Yes, but
don't let them think about that. Don't question
just
this.
Just in case anybody's curious, I'll make sure I put because they're kind of a weird spelling, but let me put it in the show notes so you can look at these things. Because if you would like to see what Star Wars used to do when it was far stranger.
This was the special effects guys getting to make what kind of weird shit they wanted to
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying is the reality is these things showed up as a background element.
It's different
in
now.
The palace.
It's different now because you've got a bunch of computer people making computer creatures, right? But it was interesting when you had special effects guys who literally had to build creatures for you to have in the background. It's a completely different feel now, you know? And this is one of the things I actually like limitations in storytelling, because when you can create whatever you want, then it's very easy to paint yourself out of a mess in an artificial way. Whereas like limitations helped you to stop and go, okay, well, I need to, create something within the context. I mean, this is we're talking about the first Blade Runner movie, where to some degree, it's kind of its limitations created whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like they didn't just let Ridley Scott do whatever the hell he wanted, and sometimes through those limitations, really great art gets created. Maybe.
No, well, apparently they were based. I'm trying to find. Apparently, Ralph McQuarrie actually drew these things originally, but they look completely different. So I guess I think it is what you're talking about. The special effects guys.
I mean,
they look like little trolls as far as I can tell. And then I guess the special effects guys were like, "What if they were brains in jars?" Hey, whatever. But I agree with you that there is a lot of stuff that you find out came about because somebody was high and they just wanted to do it. I mean, that's Mad God, basically.
Yeah.
So yes, you're right. That is a problem. That is something that happens less often when everything in a product is accounted for, quantified, and explained. So yes, like you said, when it was, all right, we're just messing around and blah, 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 blah. And, I'll just throw that in there.
So it's like, hey, George, can we throw one of these brain guys in the back? And George is like, I kind of like him. Have him walk by the door. Yeah.
Well, that's a good idea. It's spidery. I like spiders. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, power of myth.
Power of myth. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and that's why, corporeal movies are still... There's a charm to them you're not going to get when everything has to be... When a computer-created atmosphere, everything has to be very intentional.
Oh, you know what? I take it back. I forgot. There is one shown in the Boba Fett series. So they are there. Apparently in the trailer, you see one walk across the front of Jabba's palace. So I guess somebody remembered it. That's great. Oh my God. Somebody has a picture of Bib Fortuna being debrained and his body left over. Holy shit. That's fucking grim. Wow. Oh my God. I'll send you this and then we'll get into our movie. Look at this fucking image. That's great, man. Who the fuck drew that?
I wonder if I just found the same thing.
I
just found the same
thing. That's amazing. He's slumped over. That's what happens to him.
I like that they made him look so fat and disgusting in the...
he's all grossed out.
When they fucking kill him.
Oh my God, yeah. When a Bomar monk has reached peak enlightenment, their brain is removed by surgeons and placed within stasis in a spiral-like mechanical body. The monk could then theoretically spend eternity in this space of enlightenment. There you go. That's how it works. Holy shit. Wow. That's amazing. But of course, that's not what happens in that story. But it's nice that they put him in there, even though it's a little confusing because Bib Fortuna's alive. Anyway, we've reached the point where I play this.
200 hours later.
And then I immediately follow that with this.
Just give me the essence of the thing, the juice,
Shut the fuck up!
Thanks for killing my mom.
See, white girls bore me.
You can
Wait
eat shit
a
and die,
minute.
Colonel.
I do want you to come.
Hold on, before we get into movies.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
think that in the comic book series, Boba Fett Black, White, and Red, he has a run-in with the Bomar monks.
Does he?
Yeah, type in, go to, just real quick, do an image search and just type Boba Fett Black, White, and Red.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing some images of him with the Bomar monks.
Looking. Is this is a pre-series or is this a now series?
I don't know what it is.
It would have to be pre because in the current one he kills. Remember he kills.
It's called Star Wars Boba Fett Black, White, and Red.
Yeah, I'm finding a lot of images. I'm looking for the monks.
Number 3. It's in number 3 apparently.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! There's so many images from this.
Well,
hold on. There's the Sarlacc. Yeah. God, you know what? I don't want to sidetrack on this for too long, but yeah, I'd forgotten that originally because he was partially consumed by the Sarlacc. He's got some of its memories because his DNA was damaged, so he has permanent cancer because his DNA was rewritten with the Sarlaccs because of its digestive process and all this shit.
All right.
It's like, God damn.
Type in Boba Fett Black, White, Red, Bomar monks, and it's the second image.
All right, hold on. Monks, let's see. It's the... Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, I don't have any more information than that.
Huh.
But that looks like something...
read this.
Yeah, neither did I. That looks like something worth...
and
the whole thing is done in just 3 colors. I mean, that's kind of a neat...
Oh, it's from 2026. So, so then they're using a new version of them. So then they're because... Well, okay, I shouldn't say that. They're not using a new version of them, but again, Bib Fortuna did not become a monk in the Boba Fett series.
Well, yeah, but these are other Bomar monks.
No, that's okay. I mean, that's good that they brought him back. I didn't realize because that's brand new.
Yeah.
Let me see. It's interesting. This doesn't even mention that.
I mean, the comics. Okay, so the comics came out in 2025. So I think the collected
Yeah, so I mean,
edition,
but that's new. That's the new stuff. Huh.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out.
Well, it would make me interested. to read it because I'm curious. When is this from? I mean, sorry. When I say when is this from, where is this in Boba Fett's?
I'm
past?
just looking real quick to see what it says.
This has got to be when he's younger.
The issue takes so it sounds like it takes place in the present and the past. Like you get stories about his past, but also elements of the present. Hey, let's look it up. There's probably
okay. I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
So he goes to somebody and they talk about a breakaway sect of the Bomar monks, and then Boba Fett remembers them back when he was working for Jabba. So this is clearly after that, but as far as apparently now those are a rogue sect. And then there's
this is a canon book too.
Oh, it is. Yeah. The creepiest sect in Star Wars. Yeah, the Bomar monks are religious. Yeah, that's them.
Yeah, but there's no information on it. Even on the Wikipedia, there's no information.
Well, I'm looking at a review of it, and it says it's a flashback where you see him. Okay. So it's just that he mentions remembering them.
Oh, all right.
So you're just seeing a flashback of it.
Of how scary
they
were.
But they're... so here it is. Fett is received by Varagon's new body, so whoever he is there's a bunch of them being led by one that's kind of a half-android. Boba Fett orders the Slave One. Oh my god, they're still calling it the Slave One. I thought they weren't calling it that anymore. To attack the monastery, burying all the enemies. So, yeah, so he's basically executing... This leader of these things. Interesting. Huh. Yeah. All right. Well, good.
I like
good.
I actually kind of like the art style.
Yeah, although they gave him a really big ass in this one shot.
Well, listen, he can have a booty.
I mean, whatever.
He can have a booty trunk if he wants, okay?
Oh, that's fine. I mean, maybe he's got really superior glutes. They never mentioned.
He's got great squats, okay?
It's true. That's true.
Squat master.
You could bounce a quarter off that ass real easy.
Yeah. I want to bounce a quarter off Boba Fett's ass.
I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. Nobody knows what he looks like except for Tamura Morrison, so, you know.
I think, well, if this is canon, then this is clone Boba Fett.
Oh, I'm sure it is. No, yeah. in the modern day, it would be. So yeah, good looking guy. So there you go.
So anyway, sorry, I didn't want to derail you. I just saw that image.
No, that's fine. I'm happy. No. See, this is a good thing. It's not doom and gloom. The Bomar monks have returned. That's great. Very happy to know that the Bomar monks are still around.
Just wanted to
in whatever form.
The table there,
because they're creepy and awesome, and I always like that
creepy
in my science fiction.
And awesome.
Yep.
So
anyway,
movies.
So we watched two movies, which are barely thematically related. And really only in the fact that they both feature fashion photography in some degree. But we started off with, I believe it's 1992. Yeah, it is, because I remember I was like, oh, this feels like the 80s, but it's the 90s. So we watched a movie from 1992, which we originally were meant to watch a while ago, but I had ripped the wrong audio track, so I had to redo the subtitles. And it's titled Murder in Blue Light. It's the third film in the Forgotten Jolly Volume 9 box set that I bought, which, as a plug for that, another Dynamite box set that you can't buy anymore unless you want to pay a lot of money. Because, man oh man, Vinegar Syndrome just doesn't redo some of their box sets. So I've been very lucky that the two I bought, well, technically three if you include the Apocalypse tetralogy, which we'll be watching at some point. Every one of those box sets I bought from them so far, Dynamite! Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry.
Oh, you have that.
Why am I saying it
when
I could be saying, or not me saying...
Dynamite!
Yeah. Like I said, we were planning to watch this. I had to reconstruct the subtitles. And we then watched it. And I will... it's very simple from my end. I'm biased to love these movies. And I had a great time with it. I would call it a very entertaining but unsurprising Giallo film. If you've seen an Italian Giallo film, you've seen this movie.
It felt pretty generic in that respect.
It was. We've seen a lot of these in a short span of time, particularly you, for how much experience you've had. So they're all kind of similar.
I enjoyed this movie. It does have some kind of I do feel like this movie this movie is like a really nice Italian car that's got a wonky wheel on it. It looks great and it'll get you there, but there's a little bit of weird action in the wheels. And that's how I feel with this movie, where all the components are there. It's interesting. I don't feel like it sells its main premise necessarily. Like, there's two things that really stick out. I mean, which is that the gay lover murderer, I feel like they needed to set that up slightly better. I needed something else, just something else, because it felt a little bit too last minute. And then the last minute chumminess between the detective and the woman, who have fucking hated each other the whole goddamn movie. That just felt very like, hey, we're fucking buddies now. And it's like, no, you're not. You fucking hated each other the whole thing. Beyond that, I did enjoy it. It's a weird flick. I mean, the idea that this woman would basically, it's not even that she assumes, she becomes a prostitute in to try and find the person that killed her brother. Now, what was the logic behind that? Because that seemed very kind of like half-baked in itself.
She was trying to find the guy who was castrated.
I know, but did she have a list of she had a list of the people it could be, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah. She was looking for somebody whose crotch had been blown out.
Yeah, and then she sent them offers. Yeah, something like that. But the fact that she would opt to do this, and to my knowledge, she does have sex with one of them, because the beginning of the movie is her basically fulfilling somebody's rape fantasy.
Well, okay, and I realized something.
Yeah.
About this that so I think you're right. It was not properly done in that what I realized way after we finished watching it, because I was kind of thinking about it, trying to figure that out myself. And I realized, okay, because like when the guy shows up who's got the maid fantasy.
Yeah.
Remember he shows up and she tries to get him to, she can't get him to disrobe because he's like, you're not into it. And he leaves.
Yeah, yeah.
Is obviously what she was trying to do was
to find out
if somebody wasn't necessarily looking for actual intercourse, she had to get them to take their pants off.
Yeah, so she could see. Yeah, no, that makes sense to me.
And so, like, the guy having sex with her, the reason she's instantly bored, she's like, well, it's not him. Right away.
Oh, yeah. No, like, I thought it was because she was a prostitute. But no, that makes total sense. Yeah. But it's the fact that she goes to that length.
Well, how else would you do it?
No, I know, but it's the fact that she goes to the length of becoming a prostitute to find her brother's killer. It is an interesting concept. I mean, especially since she is a model. She is a working model. Yeah. It's an interesting concept. The movie clinkiness. That's what it is. The movie. There's some clunkiness in the movie. I don't feel like it pulls it all the way through. I enjoy the. What?
Good.
No. What were you going to say? The clunkiness.
So I think this movie falls between two movies that we've talked about before. What was the one? What was the one with the woman who was in love with the other woman and she's got her tied up? I can't remember the title of it. The one I really liked.
The where she's got the dead body?
Yeah, she's got the body. I can't remember what the thing was called. Oh, that was
the one where the brother comes back from fucking the state park in the U.S.
Yeah. With the big hair, but I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, and at the end you find her body, yeah.
Yes. That movie was the right way to do this type of late twist where it worked very well. It was explained very, very well.
Yeah, because he tries to have sex with the girl at one point and she won't, and she acts like it's something else.
She
but
turns
then you
him
realize,
away. Right.
Yeah, and you're like, no, she's a lesbian. That's why she didn't want to have sex with him.
Yes, and it doesn't surprise you. The sister's dead and the woman's in love. It all makes sense. It's great.
Yeah.
You have sympathy for the killer. Like, it's all there. I had sympathy for the killer. Some may not. Not condoning, but sympathy. And then the side that was a worse version of this movie we're talking about now, is the one where the reporter is trying to find the killer. And the ending of that is it's just like the fake out with the old woman is a complete stupid red herring that's never explained. That one's more clunky. So this is in between where, yes, you're right that there are certain parts where I'm like, this needed like 10 minutes more. Just a bit to soften, to sharpen the edges.
I still enjoyed it. I still thought it was a fun movie. I like a lot of the stuff they do. I do like the fact, I mean, the idea that they were desperately trying to convince you that it was New York is hilarious.
Oh yeah, that's great. But here's what they should have done to fix the problem you're talking about with the gay lover.
Yeah.
There should have been, it could have just been the one scene because this woman is working with a guy who's basically her bodyguard.
Yeah.
And there should have been a sequence where he says, "Why are you doing all this?" And she says, "Oh, it's because my brother was killed. And, well, why don't you just go to the police? Because my brother had told me that he was gay and nobody knew, and I think he was killed because he was gay." And that at least plants the idea of something.
Oh, you know what?
That,
I don't have an issue with the fact that she, as she put it, she did go to the police and nothing happened.
Well, right. But in other words, the gay angle comes out of nowhere at the end. Except I did think about it, but I think that's just because I've seen so many.
I just wish that they'd done a little bit more footwork on that. You know, there was still a little more illusion to it. Yeah. Yeah,
if they had just had the one line about, oh, my brother was gay, but in the military, because they're all Navy, but you can't be out in the Navy, and I think somebody killed him for it, and he knew that some other guys were gay too, and probably like you could have just a couple of lines. Yeah. You could have planted the idea of what this was.
And that's what I needed. I needed a little bit more because it does come out
kind
of nowhere.
I agree.
Than that, I did like how no bullshit she was. She was a model, but she was very no bullshit with the world of modeling.
Dagger eyes. Kept thinking of dagger eyes.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things where like I didn't like the end result of the movie because I felt like it was clunky, but I liked the way the movie functioned. I liked the way it moved. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a kind of a weird thing. Like, I was the least interested in who the killer was. I was more interested in her pursuit of the killer. And the weird kind of kinkiness that the movie embraces. You know, where she's, like, trying to balance being a model but also being a hooker. Like, it's just, yeah. And meanwhile, the director is trying to convince you that this is New York City, definitely not Rome, you know. So no, I despite my, being critical of it, I did enjoy it. I thought it was a fun movie. I don't know if I need to see it again, but I enjoyed it.
I would watch this again because I have a delight of these types of films. But I would say, and this was I said in my short review, I'll say it here again. If you're already into this type of stuff, that will overcome the rough edges, which are definitely there. That's why I brought up that other movie, which unfortunately I cannot remember. It's like a single word title, but it's got that beautiful poster art of this woman with this giant hair. We talked about it. Whatever that movie was, that's the really good version of this type of thing where there's like a secret gay angle to it. In that case, a lesbian angle. But it's done very well. And it's all explained well enough that, there's enough hints to it. There's these little elements that you see of it. It's really well done. Again, this isn't as out of nowhere as Boogie Rossi, which is the one with the reporter. Even though I think in that one, by having the guy be alive and explaining what he went through, I think that's more powerful. In this one, the gay brother's dead. So you don't get any of, his struggle or whatever happened there. You don't get any of that because he's dead already.
Well, he wasn't gay.
Well, the killer, I mean.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you don't get, so with the killer, you don't get enough of, whereas the guy in the other one who was assassinating people because he was closeted, you get that whole scene where he's like, yes. You know what it's like to have to be like this.
Yeah, and when you find out that this guy is gay and that basically the main character's brother created the situation where he was accidentally killed, or he was accidentally castrated, right? That right there, I'm interested. I mean, that's fascinating. That will make you feel bad for the killer, you'll either, or at least you'll sympathize to some degree, right? But it comes so quick at the end of this movie that you're like, whoa! It gives you whiplash. You know what I mean? Although the crotchety detective dressed as a woman at the end is also a delight. Let me tell you. Like,
well, and this is what Lando's talking about with the this is shot in New York. Okay, so if you watch this movie, pay attention, because in the New York scenes, the cop will always be wearing the same outfit because they only shot one day with him. When they're driving around in the white Jeep, it's always the white Jeep with the same people because they only shot one day there. So they obviously were, and they basically, it said, they had like 3 days there, which was shooting everything, a couple of scenes, and then the rest is clearly, I mean, there's back alleys of New York that are in Rome that do not look anything like what an alleyway in New York would look like. They're not flat or anything. They're like these weird slopey steps. It's ridiculous to even imagine such a place would exist in New York. But that's kind of the fun. That helps the movie, along with, like you said, the kind of non-judgmental presentation of kink where it's like, yeah, I'm just trying to find the killer. Great. All right, sure.
Oh, yeah.
There's a part where a guy says, get the dustbuster. And I could not let go of that because she's vacuuming with a dustbuster. Again, something that young people won't even know what the fuck that is. And I remember vividly my mother having one of those things on the wall with one of those things plugged in.
I love that
emptying that son of a bitch out.
She draws the line at enemas, though.
Oh, yeah. No enemas.
Yeah.
No disintegrations. No enemas. Yeah.
No disintegrations. No rectal disintegrations. Yeah.
No rectal disintegrations. But when she's got the dustbuster, that almost, I was like, this movie's worth watching.
Yeah,
just
I
for
don't know
this.
if you remember this, but at one point when she's like dusting in the maid outfit, you said to out loud, I kind of start to understand what the kink of this could be from the point of view of the person watching it.
Sure.
And so she's a good looking woman. It's a good role for her.
Listen, if you're a neat freak,
it's a funny
who
movie.
enjoys being teased,
yeah,
that's a perfect scene. I'm not kidding. If you are into like tantric teasing with a neat freak angle, this is your film.
Tantric,
because I don't know that it's ever been depicted like this before.
With a neat freak angle. There you go. That's a sentence right there.
I mean, that has to exist, right? It has to.
Oh yeah, all of it has to exist.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So it's great.
Listen, somewhere right now, as you're listening to this, is being tantrically neat freak, turned on.
Yeah.
It's all happening somewhere.
It's all happening. Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed this movie. I just thought that it was clunky for me.
Well, again, and this is what I'll point out. Nothing in this movie is going to surprise you.
No.
So as long as, if you're familiar with these types of films, then you're not going to be, I feel really bad not knowing. It's like Unforgettable or whatever the other movie that I keep referring to.
No. You know what?
That
Hold
movie,
on. No. Let me give you a different way to look at it, right?
Sure.
There's this thing that happens where you read a certain type of book, right? Like, so for me, Westerns, right? I like to break up every now and then reading sci-fi with reading Westerns. I don't know why, but it works for me. And when I read Westerns, sometimes I read a little bit more, but sometimes I just want something that is in that Western feel. I want to watch a type of movie. I don't need it to be earth-shattering. I just want it to be good entertainment, right? This is one of those movies. If you want to watch one of these style of, like, murder mystery giallo films, right? This is a really good run-of-the-mill, just enjoy it and go on with your night giallo film. It's not going to horribly disturb you. It's not going to ruin your night. It's not going to necessarily stay with you forever. But it's in the genre. It's fun to watch. You don't feel like you wasted your time. You had good entertainment. And now you can move on.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Those are good movies.
I'm trying to place it properly for people who don't have the time we do to watch all these movies. So I'm sort of giving you like quality levels that you could be like, okay, well, I'm only going to be able to watch one of these movies if I can find them. Which one? It would be that one I keep referring to that I think is called Unforgettable or whatever. That's the one I would say watch. This one I think is perfectly fun, but God, I love the ending of that other movie. It's just that other ending sticks with me.
Where they go
it's
out the
very
window,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. Because like I said, I did feel something for that woman.
That poor bastard,
anyway,
yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Very good movie. So, yes. Very fun. If you're a Giallo fan, you'll have a great time. Great time. Like I said, I'm not sorry I bought this box set. Every movie, worth seeing.
No, it's
So
fun.
that's all I ask. As long as 2 out of 3 of them are good, and luckily in each of the Vinegar Syndrome sets, everyone has been good. I haven't had a bad movie yet, which will not last, but I'm happy about it so far. So, a lot of fun. Even Lando, who's not as into these films as I am, had a good time with it. So obviously, good movie. Then, for whatever reason, my brain in the middle of watching this jumped to...
Yeah, I will admit, you stretched a little bit with this one.
Like I said, there really isn't, and I said this, there's no theme for this month, so it's fine.
Oh yeah, fuck all is the theme. You know what I mean? Then by all means.
Yes, but for some reason in my mind, I thought of the 2016 film The Neon Demon, which I reviewed in 2018, which was the first time I'd seen it, and haven't watched since. Even though I remember liking it, I just hadn't had a reason to watch it again. I've thought of it here and there because the soundtrack, you've listened to it, I like it a lot. And every time I listen to it, I'm like, oh, I should watch it again. But inevitably, we watch something else, or I'm watching something else, or whatever. But for whatever reason, maybe it was the coloring, the color scheme, and the fashion photography, because there's a lot of color kind of overlap. This Neon Demon feels very 80s, like Suspiria color inspired, as many of his movies do. So maybe it was that. But I thought, oh, yeah. Because I was pretty sure you hadn't seen it. It had been a while since I'd seen it. And I was curious, because I knew it had been a while, would it hold up? What would I think of it on a second watch?
You know, it's funny. I've noticed this very often. You are more concerned with whether I have seen a movie as to why I haven't seen a movie.
Well, because
I just find it amusing because sometimes there are movies. This isn't one of these, but sometimes there are movies that I actively avoid because I'm like, I don't need that headcanon. And what's amusing is that Joe does not get slowed down by negative headcanon. Like, I give you credit for however weak you may find your head to be in other ways. When it comes to watching a movie and then going, okay, I'm done now, I'm going to bed. Like, you are far more you have far more fortitude than I do. You know?
Yeah. Sleep is much different for me than I think it is for you.
Yeah.
I think my brain understands properly. It cannot allow anything in.
You know what? I had a dream after I saw this movie. You know what my dream was?
What?
My wife told me there was something wrong in the dream. My wife told me there was something wrong with my beard, right? And I was like, oh, can you fix it? And she goes, oh, well, get me the razor. And I had looked at it, but I couldn't see it in the mirror. So my wife, basically shaved off half my mustache. And in the dream, I was like, why the fuck would you do that? And she's like, that looks better now. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she was so adamant. And then at and I was in the dream, I thought that I was losing my mind because I was like, why does my wife think that me having half a mustache is okay? The rest of my beard was there. I was just literally missing half a mustache. And then I was like, is this some new style thing that I don't know about? Because you're in dream logic. And then as the dream goes on, I've had it now for a while, and my wife finally turned to me and she was like, yeah, I just wanted to see how long I could get you to go around the day with half a mustache. And I was like, you motherfucker. And then I woke up because I was so irritated. These are the kinds of dreams I get after watching certain movies. And you know what's terrible? You know when you wake up and you're annoyed at somebody because their dream, their dream version did something new shitty, and I woke up and I was like, okay, I have a whole mustache. It clearly wasn't her.
This did not happen.
I was like, this didn't happen. I was like, just fucking park it, okay? But that happens too. When you, my dream me does something and my wife gets annoyed at me, and I'm like, dude, I was not there. This was a different me in your head. Right. I should be asking why you made such a shitty version of me.
Yeah.
But yes, so we watched this movie, and then I had a dream where my wife shaved off half my mustache just to see how long she could keep me running around with half a mustache.
And I watched this movie and slept soundly.
There you go.
Yeah, so I already reviewed it.
Yep.
But I will say, I feel like I like it more now than I did the first time I watched it. I liked it a lot watching it this time. Because I am okay, and in fact, am visually supportive of Nicholas Winding Refn's self-absorbed, pretentious nonsense.
Okay.
Even though I know that he is that way, I like what he makes visually, and his storytelling ain't bad. So
okay, so here we go. I have realized something about the two of us, right? That is important. And maybe it's why we have the discussions that we do. You and I are not the same kind of artiste, if you like, right? You're an illustrator, and you have a very visual flair for your art, right? Your art needs to visually work. You like other things as well, but you'll let a movie go if it's got great fucking visuals and the story is kind of just, okay, right? Whereas if the story in a movie is like, it's okay, and the visuals are great, I have to almost like separate the movie out and go, well, it looks great, but Jesus Christ, they could have hired better writers. Because writing and the actual base mechanic of storytelling is the thing that interests me, right? Now, you wouldn't need to have to get around it if you had a good story. And it would be, I feel like Nicholas Winding, whatever, Refn, I feel like he has very weak stories. Like his scripts, I don't feel like his scripts are very good. I think his visuals are fantastic, right? But I feel like his scripts are weak. And he's like a lot of directors who think that they're also writers. And the thing is, I don't think directors are writers. Sometimes they get lucky and they make like a halfway decent script, but I think there's a lot of directors out there who produce so-so stories that just visually make it look really good. And I think that Refn's visuals are fantastic. Listen, I love the movie Bronson, but he took the story of Bronson and kind of turned it into like something else entirely. He didn't know what to do with the actual story of Bronson. And it's a fun movie, but it's not, it has very little to do with reality. This movie, I kind of like it. I just, in much the same, you know what? This is my connection for you. Much in the same way that Murder in the Blue Light suddenly pulls some wonky shit on you late in the movie, and you sit there and go, oh, you know what? I really would have liked it if you'd done a little more legwork for me so that I understood the whole gay murder thing, right? Neon Demon is... It is a fascinating movie. It is a fascinating indictment on modeling and the world of modeling and the diseased concept of what beauty is and is not and its value, and these people who think that it is all important. It is this kind of disgusting indictment on beauty. For the first hour and 40 minutes, right? And then it turns into like an allegory on people wanting to consume others to absorb their beauty, which isn't a new thing necessarily, right? This is a concept that's gone around. This is, it is linked to vampirism at one point, and there was the woman who used to bathe in the blood of beautiful women so that she thought because it would make her beautiful, until the townspeople walled her into like a room and were like, fuck you. But my issue is that, like, I think I wanted a little more... a little footwork more. If you're going to bring in these kind of weird elements, I think I wanted just a few more elements in the movie. Like, don't get me wrong, I was thinking about this. The mountain lion that suddenly appears in her bedroom, I guess you could construe that as some kind of weirdness, but I mean, everyone just saw you left your fucking sliding door open or some shit like that, which is weird. Do you have to worry about mountain lions coming into your house? Because you're out in California.
Well, I mean, it is a possibility.
Okay.
In fact, ironically, there is an ad that runs during some of the baseball games I listen to about a non-lethal thing that somebody on a hike uses on a mountain lion out here. So I guess it's happened. I've never seen one.
So I feel like this movie spends most of its time being a fascinating indictment and then switches gears very near at the end. And my question is, did he have the ending first or did he have the movie first? Because it feels like one was very forced to connect to the other. Now, I don't think that I think it works as a movie, but it feels like, it feels that, not visually, let's be very clear, visually, it looks amazing all the way through. But story-wise, it feels like a wonky fucking left turn for me. I needed you to set it up a little bit more. You can't just take a left for no fucking reason. That's the nature of storytelling. They're foreshadowing. You need to so story-wise, I feel it's a bit. And I don't even hate the ending, like in any way, shape, or form. I think that the ending is a fascinating kind of continuation of the concept. Just don't give it to me in the last fucking 20 minutes of the movie. Maybe start somewhere around like the hour and 30 mark. Give me more time with it. Let it gradually occur. It's just that, it goes so quick. So the first hour and 40 minutes of the movie are fascinating. It's a woman who has what others deem to be a natural beauty, entering into the world of modeling, and then driving other people insane who have been working at this for a long period of time and felt the need to basically like chop themselves up to look like some kind of convention of beauty, only to be ignored by someone who has a genuine presentation. And then the woman who has that beauty slowly gets overwhelmed by the power of it herself. So by the end of the movie, she is just as awful as the people who are going to destroy her. She has become as consumed with it as they are. She's just at the top end of it, which is why there's a great sequence where she's standing on a diving board, and the other character is standing in an empty swimming pool, and it almost looks like the Dakota Fanning is like, oh, not Dakota Fanning, Elle Fanning. It almost looks like Elle Fanning is floating, and she's giving this big speech where she's like, "I'm the beautiful that everybody wants. I am the, I understand now." Like it's very like, okay, you've, this is the whole I understand the power of darkness now type shit. Which you have to have, so you understand why then, her fall inevitably comes after that. Now, the fact that, honestly, even the fact that they murder her, like, I kind of get it. I just wish I had a little bit more, like I said, a little more framework, like foreshadowing of it. But I mean, I give you this movie did some fucked up shit that, like, I didn't know that I was ever going to see. Like the girl who has lesbian sex with a cadaver. You know what? I didn't think that I was ever going to see that, and now I did. And my brain is kind of sitting there going, I don't know if she had sex with her. I think she masturbated while kissing a corpse.
Oh, no, yeah, she did. She didn't actually do anything to the body outside of spitting on the mouth and kissing it.
Yeah. So it was like masturbation.
Oh, no, of course. Yeah,
corpse.
I mean, she couldn't
kissery.
scissor the corpse because I just don't think it would have been physically possible.
Oh, anyway, right. So, like, I never thought that I was going to see that in a movie. And you know what? When it happens, it kind of makes weird sense and shows you the kind of mindset of some of these characters, where you have two women that are models who are so fucking jealous and irritated with Elle Fanning's character for being beautiful and unaware. And then you have, I think it's Jenna Malone, I think is the name of the actress.
Jenna Malone, yep.
Who is the makeup makeup specialist, and she is massively in love with Elle Fanning's beauty and desperately wants to be her. And when she is rejected, she then wants to destroy her. And they all decide to destroy her. And I think what I wanted was a sequence where they decide to destroy her. Maybe that's the footwork that I needed, like the beforehand. But either way, and then where I have issues is he does this thing where he skips around a bit, or like they kill her, but then next thing you know, you see them. One of them is bathing in her blood, and the other two are in a shower, and it's like a weird. Man, that was the other thing in the movie that I did not expect to see, which is that there's no nudity. The whole movie tries so hard to avoid nudity, even in scenes where, like, there should probably be a lot of nudity, right? And then the last 20 minutes, they're just like, here, we're going to cram all the fucking nudity we can get in, and it's going to be disturbing as fuck. Like, you get naked dead bodies, and then you get, like, these two naked women sexily showering blood and, like, gut remnants off themselves in the shower, and the other woman's in a bathtub full of blood, and like, you know, it's just. I think didn't we say you had a review that was like the last 20 minutes of the movie just turned into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yes. Yep.
Right, and like, so I think as I've been thinking about it, and like, I guess I enjoyed the movie, and I enjoy his visuals, and I enjoyed this like kind of the indictment on modeling and the disease psychology that these people kind of adopt. It's just that the ending, like, you know what? I realized I don't even have a problem with the two other women, the two models, because one of them, they go to a photo shoot, and the one girl gets noticed, and she thinks this because she ate she ate Elle Fanning, because of the thing, they eat her for her beauty. And then the other girl pukes up her eyeball, and she feels very sick. And it's almost like she's so mortified, and I can't tell if it's because she's come to terms with the fact of what she's done, or because she can't consume her beauty. Is it the fact that the eyeball rejected her that she kills herself, or is it because she has a crisis of conscience? I don't know. That's an interesting debate in itself. And then the other girl basically reaches for the eyeball that the other girl's vomited up to eat it because she wants more of that power, because she believes in it, you know. And it's like, that's all fucked up, but it works. But then the makeup artist lying in the moonlight and then queefing like a fucking wave of blood across the carpet, that scene, I'm not so sure what the fuck is going on. Like, and we never come back to it. Like, I just, I read something where people were like, oh, there's a vaguely witchcraft aspect to this movie. I'm like, you know what? I don't think there is. I think there's one scene in this fucking movie that's vaguely witchcraft-ish.
Well, okay. So all right, let's start at the top. You're right. You and I are different in this way, because to me, I think that there's plenty of story in here. It's just that it's very simple and it's very superficial, much like what it's talking about. In that, as far as did he start with the ending or the beginning? I don't know that. I read what the description that's out there of how the movie was, which was based on the fact that his wife, I believe, was a model, and he was trying to think of what it would be like to be a beautiful person in that world. So, did he start with the ending or the beginning? Hard to say. Based on how I've seen his interviews and how he talks, he's very much high on himself. Just no bullshit about it. I mean, some of the stuff he has said in interviews with other directors who are far more intellectual and thoughtful. I mean, if you want to see something extraordinary, it's him talking to, I believe, William Friedkin, who pulls no punches. And there's a point where Friedkin's like, do you really think you're a better director than, like, I don't remember who he refers to. He's like, oh yeah, I'm on his level. And Friedkin says, is there a doctor here? I think something's wrong with this guy. Like, just says it because he can't believe the ego on the person in front of him. That's how he is. So it would not surprise me if they were making the movie and somebody at the point, because he wrote it with another person, a woman, and there was a part where they're like, okay, so how do we transition from this, which is just very ordinary, like dog eat dog model stuff, nothing out of the ordinary really, except for a couple little kind of, okay, is this woman going to like kill her in the bathroom type stuff, but still normal, just reality. How do we go from that to, okay, they're going to dismember her? And I would not be surprised if his answer was, we don't need to, we'll just do it. It doesn't matter. The movie's so good, they'll accept it. Very well could have been because you're right, there is no real hint to any of this.
Yeah, I read, so you said the whole thing about his insane quotes.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just curious to get, an idea of the person. So apparently he had heart failure on the red carpet.
Yeah.
And hallucinated Tom Cruise coming to save him with godlike healing powers. He also famously ranted, "I don't want a bunch of judges sitting in a fucking room saying, 'Oh, La Dolce Vita is not as good as Batman vs Superman. Fuck them and the horse they rode in on.'" Okay.
Yeah.
He also apparently can't drive. He failed his driver's.
Made a movie called Drive.
He failed his driver's test 8 times, and never got his license. He heavily relies.
Who am I to judge?
Yeah, Refn heavily relies on the directing mantra, "Nothing is everything," and once called his own film, "Only God Forgives," a masterpiece.
I think he was talking about that when he was talking to Friedkin.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can think your movie's a masterpiece. Yeah, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Listen, I like Megapolis.
What I'm saying here is,
yeah,
this may lend some explanation as to how this movie and these movies are approached.
And that's kind of my point, is that when a director crawls up their own ass, there's a problem. And the thing is, I do think that this movie looks good and says a lot of interesting things. There are moments in this movie that I will not forget for a long time. And not even you know what? The gross out sequence at the end is the least haunting part of the movie for me. Do you want to know what definitely. The most disturbing part of this movie is? When
the pseudo rape scene? I don't know.
Oh God, yeah, that is pretty fucked up. But it's a dream, so I kind of let it go. She had a dream of like rape fear, so like my brain was like, "It's a dream, it's not real." Right? We just had a conversation.
That's pretty bad when he puts the knife down her throat.
Oh, it's fucking awful. Yeah,
and then she hears what does appear to be a woman being assaulted.
The girl next door. Yeah, that's awful
that's the worst part of the movie for me.
But when the girl is talking about all the things that she's done to be beautiful.
Okay. Yes. All right. Well, now you're getting. All right. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then the like the casting director or the photographer is like, "Well, that's because you're not really pretty." He's like, "She's pretty." He's like, "You can always tell." Like he just so effortlessly destroys her.
Yeah.
And then Elle Fanning's character basically is like, "Yeah, I'm great," and it's like this one asshole destroys one person. Actually, no, he destroys 2 people by saying that one isn't pretty and the other one is. And like that scene is so disturbing. And the two women that eventually kill her with the makeup artist, the scenes with them where they demonstrate the psychology of what their programming, essentially their behavior. Those scenes are so disturbing to me because it's the idea that these people are walking around and this is what they believe. These are people that turn 40 and kill themselves because they're not pretty, they're not beautiful anymore. You know?
Okay, you're hitting on exactly where I'm going. So, as far as the ending, which is really what you have to talk about, because the rest of it is fairly okay. It's a cutthroat modeling world, which anybody who reads about it, that's what it is. This is all up until the point where they dismember her. I have no trouble believing all of this can and has happened in some variation.
And listen,
even the necrophiliac masturbation scene, I guarantee has happened.
You know what? Honestly, that's not at that point. It's not that weird. And I don't even have a problem with them killing her necessarily, because the idea is that your success cannot. Your success is you're taking success away from me with your success.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I've read about people being that kind of crazy. It's just that he then throws in this whole, blood consumption thing, and it's like, okay, where did that come from, dude? This is just your...
Okay, well...
You're looking for your shock and awe ending.
All right, it could be that. I don't disagree that's definitely a possibility. But I also don't see why it isn't just a literalization of things that actually happen. He's just showing you this in a literal form to say, would it be okay if it was this way? Now, this is how I read it. I don't know that he cares even this much, as your quotes have pointed out. But to me, there is an awareness by almost anybody who does even the most minimal investigation into how the fashion industry, modeling, all this stuff works. Even then getting into entertainment, acting, the rest of it. That it is a destructive world. And modeling probably more so than almost any other because it is literally only about the outside. They couldn't give a shit if you're a serial killer or a saint. If you're pretty or ugly, that's it.
Yeah, and
that's it.
It's fascinating to me because pretty is such a...
I agree, but this is again
such a weird concept. I mean,
Well, it is, except it's not when everybody, or I should say, when an industry agrees on what it is. You know that, I know that, right?
Yeah. So basically, it's the industry deciding what their definition is.
Essentially, Elle Fanning in this movie,
is,
and I think it would be probably agreed upon, what at the time or for a long time the industry agreed was this is what women should look like. This is it right here. By and large, is unless you have some unique look that's special about you, you should look like that. Blonde, slim, young. 21 and you retire, as one point is said in the movie.
21 and you can go die. We don't care anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I have no trouble believing, and have read cases where they couldn't prove it was a one-to-one causation, but that when it was a small pool of people in the fashion industry, they would conspire to have one of them hopefully just quit, but in fact they committed suicide. And then that left one more job for them. And they would feign feeling bad, but then they found all these letters and everything indicating that, nope, hey, whatever, she's out of the way. Stuff like that happens. This is just showing you that, and people know this. And what outside of like Me Too and all that stuff, but that was really more about sexual assault. But you don't see people protesting the way this stuff works, even though they know that it's destructive to young women. So this is saying, well, what's the difference? To me, I read it as, what's the difference in morality? They dismembered her hair. So what? What's the difference between making her kill herself and just doing it? The industry wants you to do it anyway, because it's you or them. There's a point where the one girl gets fired, and he goes to the other girl and says, you want her job? Yeah, I'll take it. Immediately.
Yeah, at the end, yeah. So I don't have a problem with them killing her. I said that all feels
what I'm saying is,
logical in the course of the movie.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's just shock and awe, or if it's just saying, well, is this any different, really? So should it be shock and awe just because it's literal murder as opposed to driving somebody whose entire identity is tied up in this?
Oh, no, but that's the thing.
To not,
Yeah, no, but that thing, I'm fine with all of it. It's the fact that he then said, and then they ate her and bathed in her blood. And it's like, okay, now you're looking for
that too is rooted in real things. Not the dismemberment part, but there are people who do bathe in blood still, or take the blood boy infusions because they believe young blood will invigorate them. They're nuts. Don't get me wrong, but it happens. So this is just heightening it as far as the murder part. Now, the interesting element is the witchcraft thing. That I definitely think is present because Jenna Malone is covered in all these really specific tattoos, and some of them are like occult symbols. I recognized a couple of them because I looked a bunch up when I was doing like a shirt design, and I got all these ones that were like neutral. Or they're variations on them. And then she's in front of the full moon, which is a big Wiccan thing. And she's like giving herself to the moon and like laying out in front of it and taking power from it or something. And then the expulsion of blood,
a lot.
I don't know. That probably has some meaning.
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, honestly, if it had been a little bit, I could have given you a lot of reasons. But it's the amount. I mean, it's like she's been disemboweled. Like,
oh no, they dismembered her, ate her, and drained her blood. No, they did.
No.
That to me,
I'm
though, is
I'm
not,
talking about
you know.
Jenna Malone, the amount of blood that comes out of her.
Oh, well, I just, even though they never show this, I just take that as she drank her blood and then her body just disposed of it once its power was drained from it. That's how I took it. Because she didn't appear to be being harmed by it. She didn't seem concerned. She just laid back and fired blood out of her vagina. I don't know. But, I mean, I'm assuming it's blood, too. I don't even know if it was blood. It kind of looked like blood, but for all I know, it was something else. Maybe it was her love of that girl being liquefied and extolled from her body because she consumed it.
Yeah, and what I mean is this
feels...
and
as far as the eyeball part, I think that's because...
Yeah.
I think the reason she vomits it up is because the guy said to her, you can always tell. And that was herself doing that to her, being like, yeah, that won't work because you can always tell. So just imbibing her does not get rid of the alterations she made. They're always going to see it. That's why it's an eyeball. And then she just killed herself because she knew she could never live up to it. Now, this is me inferring it, but the movie kind of gives that to you.
Well, it gave it to you, yeah.
Yeah, and then the Fury Road girl, she didn't give a shit at all, so she was fine eating that eyeball and going right back out.
No, but that's the thing is
no
she had already been picked by the director.
That's what I mean, but she
already
does that
thought she already
thing,
believed
like,
that the power was working, you know.
Yeah.
So
so the ending to me, while it's not set up, it's all thematically correct with everything the movie has shown us. It all fits. Now, was it properly set up for most people? Probably not. It probably does come out of nowhere. It didn't bother me, but
I know.
I think that's because I've watched a lot of Italian movies where shit happens in the last 10 minutes. And you're like, hey, guess what?
Yeah.
So again, and this is a very Italian giallo-coded movie. There's no doubt about it.
I wasn't a huge fan of Drive. Like I'm not really.
Neither am I.
I'm not really a huge Nicholas Winding Refn fan, per se. I haven't seen.
I'm a big fan of two of his movies and
Only
one of the
God
shows.
Forgives. I haven't seen Only God Forgives.
Yeah.
Right?
We're gonna watch that.
And I didn't hate this movie. Let's be very clear. I mean, like the whole front part, the indictment on the modeling industry. It's powerful and it's terrible and sad and you know, you feel bad.
And I will completely agree with you that if you come in and you need elegance in your narrative storytelling, no.
Oh, I do.
It's not here.
How about that? I do.
No, I that's what I'm saying. I understand why you don't respond to this movie, and Only God Forgives. I'm actually more interested in what you think of.
It's not that I don't respond at all to this movie.
What I mean is that that you're seeing the problems with the storytelling, which are absolutely there. There's no doubt about it.
And like I said, as a director, his visuals are great. But yes, I have a problem with the way things proceed. You know, it's like sometimes I get the feeling that a director puts things in there specifically to let critics argue it out. Like those are his art film elements that that he throws in.
There's no way somebody says the things he said if he's not trying to be a instigator.
Yeah,
no
that's
way.
what I mean. Like,
so the
thing is,
von Trier's another one. Same type of mentality.
And the ending, it's like, and the ending is a huge shift. But then the ending itself, this is, I think, probably what angers me is the ending itself has its own logic that makes sense. Like once you shift into the end, the 20-minute mode at the end of the movie. That has its own weird sense too. Like it's like it's like he tacked the ending from a different movie onto this. And both pieces make total sense in themselves. The first hour and 40 minutes of the movie make sense to themselves. The last 20 minutes make sense to themselves, but they don't make sense to each other. And I understand that perhaps it's a metaphorical thing, I get it, but that's not how he plays it. And the rest of the movie doesn't play that way. You know, so it's
well,
and I kept trying to hang this all on the mountain lion. like I was trying to see if the mountain lion represented something. And the fact that she has the dream about Keanu Reeves raping her, and then she locks the door before he gets to the door. and I said to you, is she having a premonition? Like, I was reaching to see if I could find something that would be the foreshadowing that I needed for the supernatural element of the movie. And I mean, some people have said it's like a Grimm's fairy tale. It makes sense. It's like a Grimm's fairy tale. I get it. You know, she's destroyed by it. The witches eat her at the end, right? I just wasn't impressed with the story's late turn, and that's fine, because you know what, Murder in Blue Light, I wasn't impressed by the late turn there either. It doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy the movie and that I didn't think that the director otherwise did a very good job, but story-wise, that felt a bit weak to me.
Well, the thing with where she locks the door, to me, I just read that as the person who has the bad feeling at the airline gate turns around and the plane crashes. I mean, are they a precog, or do they just have a bad feeling that happened to be correct? Because I'm sure there's as many examples of somebody doing that and the plane landed, you know?
That's a question. That is the question.
Yeah. I don't believe she was a precog.
But here's the thing. The problem is, if there is witchery in the movie and she has a dream and then locks the door before she gets possibly raped, you're creating new problems. Because if there's witchery in the movie, then yeah, she's had a precog dream. You know what I mean?
I'm also not convinced there's witchery in the movie. Just that Jenna Malone appears to believe in it.
I think that's the thing. Is I don't necessarily think, but he did this. Yeah. But he very specifically did this sequence where the girl is nude in front of the blue moon, and she's geysering blood out of her vagina. You know,
I'm sure people do that.
They do.
I don't know about the geysering blood thing.
Moonlit vagina blood geysers.
Well, I don't. You know, there's a part of me that thinks, did she give herself a vaginal enema of her blood as well to like?
Well, okay, but you know what? Listen. 2 seconds. A 2-second shot of her giving herself a blood enema and then firing it out in the living room.
This is where I will agree with something that you said as we were watching it, which is a lot of these scenes are just unnecessarily inflated. And they are, and I think that's his failing.
Oh yeah,
is that instead of having,
then he cuts out the connective tissue.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, I think that his approach, based on what he says, and the movies I've seen and stuff I've seen of his, if it's between flesh out the story a little bit more, or slow this sequence down and add more color and sound to it, he's always going to go for color and sound. And that judgment is what's a problem for you.
And
I don't disagree that it's a problem.
No, and that is someone who is more visually attentive to their movie than story-wise attentive to their movie.
Right.
And that's why I cited the difference between you and myself.
And that's where I'll be curious.
Listen, there are comics you can't read because the art is bad.
Oh, that's
true.
The
story is amazing, but you can't read them because the art is bad.
Oh, definitely.
We have our
Only God Forgives is going to be an interesting movie.
You have to look into your own defective elements or something. You say
your own biases.
Well, no. Earlier when we were talking about technologies, and you said you have to look these things up. And see.
You have to.
Their own defects. Their own defects. That's what it is. Their own defects. Yeah, you and I both have our defects. And it informs how we enjoy art. And we have a major overlap. But if you and I are a Venn diagram, the outside portions of our circle that don't overlap are me being a writer and you being an illustrator. And this movie happens to hit that point on the Venn diagram where the director said, more art, less storytelling. And you were like, yeah. It looks good. And I was like, no, this doesn't make sense to me. Different people. Makes perfect sense that it would be different to the two of us. But I did enjoy it.
Reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason that I tirelessly champion Stalker, but not this movie. Stalker marries the two. The visuals and what's being explored philosophically are equal.
Yes.
They serve each other.
I will give you that. Stalker is a movie that it doesn't tell you things, but that's okay because you know it has its own rules. And rules
that's the thing
I'm
saying is, I don't go around telling people, you should give Neon Demon a shot. Whereas Stalker, I'm like, just try to watch it.
Fuck me. That scene where it starts raining in the room.
Oh yeah.
As the camera pans away from them in like a heap in front of it. That's in my bank of greatest movie shots.
Yep.
You know,
the scene where this camera's going through the car and there's the tanks that are all in the background is one. The big room with the sandy dunes where they're just kind of standing there. There's all that. But that's what I'm saying is Stalker is a movie that I will defend as the marriage of the two things.
Yeah.
That's a movie where I tell people,
yeah,
even if you're not inclined to watch this, try watching it.
Sometimes when I'm watching a Refn movie, there's a part of me that feels like he really wants to be like an art house David Fincher.
Oh, he does. He does.
But the difference is that like David Fincher knows how to make like a big budget movie and have the story make sense. I think David Fincher.
I think you're right.
Director.
I think you hit on it that he is less concerned if the narrative is equal to the visuals. That's not his priority.
Oh yeah, and listen, I will say visually he does more interesting sequences than Fincher. Fincher used to do that thing where he'd go through walls. Right, he did that a ton in
oh yeah,
Escape Room, I think it was. He goes through walls and he shows you how things are connected. Like I like that. It's kind of his own weird thing. Whereas Refn will take a scene and then kind of turn it into he'll sort of art scale it out. So there's a sequence in the movie where Elle Fanning is listening to the girl be raped in the other room, and so then you see her against the room hearing the violence, and then the camera goes around the other side of the wall, but you're not in the other room. You're in like this like mad dark space, and you can see the silhouette of her through the wallpaper, leaning against the wall, listening to what's going on, and it's a beautiful sequence, right? And it makes no sense like in the physical space, but it's like an abstraction of what's going on, and visually very stunning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's the same with like there's a sequence in the movie where she starts to accept this new version of who she is, where she sees the triangles, and then she starts like making out with the reflection of her, and it's her.
It's Black
basically
Swan version of her.
Yeah, it's the montage in metaphor of her accepting that she's fucking beautiful and that she's a model now. You know what I mean? So like, I like that about Refn. It's just, you know, get a good script, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I think his best scene in the whole movie is the thing where they're watching the woman in the strobe light thing, and you're looking at her looking at the other women, and like Jenna Malone smiles at her, and the other woman is like looking at her with dagger eyes, and you're like, oh god.
Yeah, Elle
like,
Fanning is watching the show, and then the other women are watching her watch the show.
Her. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just yeah. And there's stuff. Listen, I'm not saying he's a bad director. I'm just saying that there's things
but
I disagreed with.
The strobe light scene is where he manages to get both, because the storytelling is done visually, but it's there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the visuals are complementing it. It's the marriage is correct, and then it gets unweighty later.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be curious. I will be curious to see if Only God Forgives can hold up, because I mean, you very much like that movie of his. So
that one, I think, is.
I almost worry to see it. You know.
Well, okay. Here's the thing: the visuals are going to hold up. You already know that. I can tell you that. Same way.
Well,
it's,
and the
it's
visuals,
like this,
and the
but
visuals in this. Listen, the visuals in this hold up.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember?
Only God Forgives, I think, is a better story.
Who is
in
that?
general? I'm not going to say it's great, but
who is that? No, he's a French. Is it Les Chapelle? The French photographer who's a fashion photographer. Is it Les Chapelle? And he did all these like weird.
If it's, I think I know who you're talking about. Hold on. David LaChapelle? No.
Yeah,
no,
where he did like insane.
No, that guy's American. It can't be him.
He did like insane. No, it's not him. I can't remember that. I can't find him. Is that what it is? He did like weird photography. He did all kinds of crazy shit.
Okay.
Hyper real and sly subversive. Okay, then I think it is this guy David LaChapelle.
Oh,
where like he does like if you look at his photographs, it's like it is this hyper. hyper reality.
Yeah, like the hamburger and the models and stuff. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and like to some degree, I get the feeling
artists and prostitutes. Oh, this guy must be a NWR fan.
I can see the way that something like the Neon Demon is, could tie into this kind of photography. You know what I mean? It's it's the absurdity, it's the overwhelming. It's like an odd hyper reality, like they said. So it kind of made me think of that. I thought he was French. I didn't realize he was American.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the Neon Demon.
So I would say I would recommend both movies for the right crowds.
For the right crowds, yes.
Yeah. We didn't dislike either of them.
No, I didn't dislike them. It's a weird. I mean, you kind of have to be into Giallo movies for Murder in Blue Light to be. I wouldn't just tell anyone to be like, you should watch this.
And that's what I said in my short one. I said it here. Yeah. If you're if you've got the Giallo bias, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah, because like I said, I wouldn't just be like, hey, anyone should see this.
And if you're okay with overdone pretension, then you'll like Neon Demon.
You know what's funny is I don't even feel like the movie is that pretentious for almost like the first half of it.
Because
I was
think
engaged
based on what he said.
I know, but I was engaged.
I think,
I was worried about Elle Fanning's character. Like I didn't want her to be consumed by it, and I think it's one of those things where maybe it's because I was concerned for her, and then she becomes a monster by the end, and it's like, not only did you not get out, but you became the thing that everyone else wanted to destroy. You know what I mean? Like it's, but it didn't get. I mean, I also didn't know that he was, jammed up his own ass that far. So.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I mean, I wonder if that's just all a show. Sometimes I do wonder with these directors if they
maybe.
say these things.
Listen, it gets people talking about them.
Yeah, it's the whole there's no bad press.
Yeah.
What's funny is like a movie like The Substance. This reminded me a little bit of that, except The Substance starts from a psychotic absurdity in the beginning, and goes from and then as you put it, it ends with a monster.
Right. Well, that like you said, this one up to a point seems very rooted in reality, whereas The Substance starts off with a sci-fi convention right away.
Yeah.
So you're already kind of.
But they're both attacking similar ideas.
Oh, that's for sure. Yes. I mean, in The Substance, it's age 40. In this movie, it's 21. And that's because in this movie, it's modeling, and in that movie, it's TV,
acting.
Basically.
Yeah. Maybe that's that whole thing. And there is it. Once you hit 40 as a woman, you can play grandmothers.
Yeah, you're done. You can't be in front of the camera anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell anyone not to see these movies. Like I did enjoy them, and I do think visually that Neon Demon's very good, and Murder in Blue Light is a fun movie. I mean, like even if you just like crime mystery movies, Murder in Blue Light fits that. It's not some specifically overwhelming Italian movie. I mean, it's a detective movie. I mean, to some degree, yeah.
Yeah. Murder in Blue Light is easier to say, well, if you like Giallo movies, you'll like it. Or like you said, if you like murder mysteries and you're going to read subtitles, you'll like it. Neon Demon is trickier.
I saw movies like I saw American crime movies in the 90s that were like this, or like I'm sure there's some movie I saw where the grizzled detective dresses up like a woman at the end and shoots the guy or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I suddenly started thinking of those FX movies they made. Remember the two FX movies they made?
Oh yeah. What was FX2 called? The final? FX2 had a subtitle that I always liked. What was it?
Yeah,
FX2.
I mean, both those movies were so good. It was what was his name? James Dennehy?
It's Brian Brown and Brian Dennehy. I always remember because there's two Brians in it.
Yeah. Brian
Dennehy.
Yeah,
FX2, The Deadly Art of Illusion. I always liked the subtitle of that one.
I liked both those flicks, but those were like very 90s, like 90s.
Yeah, where he's got the clown driving the car and shit. It's great.
Yeah. We should honestly watch those at some point.
I'd watch those fucking movies. They're great.
Yeah, I remember years after FX2 came out. I remember it came up on. Actually, you know what? Let me go back. When I heard they made a sequel to FX, I was like, why? Because at that point, you were always like, oh, sequels are going to be bad. And when I saw FX2, I was like, you know what? I was like, I kind of like this as much as the first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Dennehy's not as in the first one as he is in the second one. Whereas in the second one,
I think they figured out that they needed more of him.
The two of them are like a fucking team in the second one. It's really good.
Yes. It's a good movie.
I wasn't trying to derail us there. I was just for some reason thinking about 90s, mystery movies.
I also like that the Total Recall woman is in the second one. I always remember, she's from Total Recall.
Oh, which one?
Athletic and Sleazy. She's in FX2.
Sleazy.
She's the main woman. Yeah.
Yeah,
the woman he's with at the end.
Fucking sleazy.
Yep. Yeah. Be honest.
I also like the FX guy, Brian. I forget his name.
Brian Brown.
Brian Brown. It was one of those actors. He I always liked movies he showed up in, and then he just kind of fell off the earth.
Yeah. I mean, I know he's been active, but I haven't seen anything he's been in a long time.
Is he still alive? No, Brian Dennehy died.
Yeah, Brian Dennehy is dead. Yeah, he's still apparently alive. He did a movie
he's
last
still
year.
Acting. Yeah, there you go. This guy was in Cocktail. Yeah, he was in FX, FX2.
Yeah, he's been
he's still. You know what? He is still acting in Australia.
Yeah, but I can't remember last time I saw him in something that was contemporary. Might have been FX2.
Oh, he was in Australia. I saw that. He was like the big bad guy in Australia.
There you go.
And that's it. I enjoyed that movie.
Still alive.
That's one of those movies that looks really great, but the story you're kind of what? Yeah. That's what's his name. What's his name? Baz Luhrmann. Baz Luhrmann is like Nicholas.
Well, he's another one of those types. Yes.
Loves the visuals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's what he was in. Anyway, well, I guess we should bring it to a conclusion.
Well, everybody, it was gloom and doom as far as the real stuff, but entertainment-wise, nothing we wouldn't say watch. So, see, we ended up, I guess. So, and I'll reiterate, the Bomar Monk figure, one of the rare Star Wars figures you can get the original version for and not have to fucking mortgage your house. So, see, it ain't all bad. On that note, we're going to leave it here before we devolve again. And, until next week, watch either of these movies. If either of them sound appealing, you'll probably have a good time. Widow's Bay is excellent. If you're a Stephen King fan especially, you'll get a lot out of it. And, click that link for the Bomar Monks because they're creepy and weird and apparently they're still around. On that note, we will probably talk to you again next week. Visit OzoneNightmare.com to subscribe to new episodes or to browse through our back catalog. Email questions or comments to ozonenightmare@gmail.com. If you'd like to support the show, visit supportourshow.com and select whatever option works best for you. The opening theme for the show is provided by Heartbeat Hero. The closing theme is provided by Ogre. Please visit and support these artists using the links in the show notes for each episode.